Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Check that out.
That is wild. That is crazy. Work to start the show. That is insane.
This is why we can't have no good things, man. Welcome to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. This is the Oreo edition. G. Bush, Jason Lloyd, and Earl the Pearl on the outside, Mikey McNuggets, man.
I was supposed to be on the outside, and I was like, bro, I don't even look right. You can't do that.
No, they don't even look right. Like,
I put the white guy in the middle.
This look better on screen. Like, you got the black guy sitting next to each other. Like, white guy on the outside. No.
Like, we got all the inside jokes.
Hey, what are you guys talking about, man?
What you saying over there?
What are you guys talking about?
Come on now.
I'm calling HR. I just want y'all to know.
So,
I'm just trying to fix earpieces, man.
Hey, listen, McNuggets, man.
Hold on, I forgot to set T1 stream. You got to hold down the fort for a sec. I got to set the T1 stream. That's on me.
Oh, it's okay. It's all cool. McNuggets,
but we are live on YouTube. What's up, YouTube? Hey, make sure y'all send in them super chats.
Hey, I'll tell you what. Let me get this out of the way. So yesterday, I come downstairs. I hear a bunch of noise. I'm like, man, what's going on, man? I'm like, man, Rosie might have thought that it was a football game because, you know, she'd be getting up at the crack of dawn. I come downstairs, bro, and it's all, she got the Christmas tree up. She got the Christmas tree.
I actually thought about that. I didn't have time this weekend.
Right.
I thought about doing the outside lights this weekend.
Because I was going to ask y'all, I said, it's a good panel to ask. When is these lights supposed to go up? Because I came out and was like, whoa. Okay, wherever you want to, I ain't had to put them up, but you got people in your neighborhood already messing with the Christmas stuff?
Yeah. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. In my neighborhood, a lot of times they hire those companies that do those.
Yeah.
And so I don't think they've started yet.
Yeah.
But I was starting to see some decorations go up. Yeah.
When them leaves, I feel like the leaves started coming down a little quicker, and they was like, Halloween is over.
Well, once November 1st hits, man, it's basically Christmas season, especially with as late as Thanksgiving is this year. You can't wait till after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's like you got your lights up for 2 days. Then I read something the other day where this is the last year of daylight savings.
Yeah.
It's a wrap after this year.
Yeah, was that for sure? Because I know that they've been going back and forth on that.
Yeah,
I never paid attention.
Well, I Googled because I was in the car and I was coming back from the gym and I was like, hey, babe, when is daylight savings? And she was just like, I keep forgetting. Like, she was like, huh? She's from a whole nother different quadrant of the universe. So it's like, we don't even deal with that. We tell the sun by how many shadows is cast. I said, you don't, all right, cool. So I Googled and they said this was going to be the last year, but I'm not sure why. I mean, did they just deem it not necessary no more?
I hate how dark it gets, how early it gets dark, man. It sucks.
When you start the winter, and I'll give them credit, the winter here in the spring and summer was the most beautiful I've seen in Ohio in a long time. Mm-hmm. Like, I started getting out and doing walks and stuff, and I was just like, man, it's nice every single day. But in Northeast Ohio, Earl, you wake up one day and the sun is like, yeah, I gave you all I could, bro.
I mean, to be honest with you, like it is what it is. Like I don't frown when it's time for it to be fall outside. Like I got eczema. So if it gets too hot, my skin get to doing crazy stuff. So like me, I'll be waiting for it to hit fall temps. Like, man, it's too hot out here for me. Like y'all be liking all this heat. Yeah. That ain't my game. I got something for y'all. So y'all know our artist friend Rob, right?
Yeah.
Who makes the pictures.
Yeah.
His homeboy, shout out to Matt. He made us some bracelets. He saw me at the Cavs game.
Oh, them is nice.
Yeah, handmade. Check this out.
Them is nice.
Mike got a Cavs one. Hey, Steve, put this.
Wrist up.
This is nice, man.
Is that who made? I had a bracelet here the other day. Where did that come from?
That was a different one.
This yours?
That's nice.
I'll pass it down.
Yeah.
Take one. I got a flash.
Take one, pass it down.
Oh, gosh.
But I thought these was really, really cool. I thought this was really nice of him. He seen me at the Cavs game Friday. Came to see me in between quarters. We talked. He made me a couple as well.
This is so nice.
This is the other one. This is the cast one right here. This one is dope too.
Oh, that's hey.
No.
Hey Earl, let me wear that one day.
Absolutely not.
Earl, let me get that on.
Absolutely not. So shout out to you, Matt, man. We appreciate the love.
Let me put mine on right now.
These was fire though. These was
now,
definitely fire.
And thank you. Listen, I'm trying to lose some weight now. My little fat little wrist wouldn't have fit this a couple weeks ago, but I'm right here now. Look, boom.
Yeah, these fire.
Yeah, Earl. Yeah. See, back in the day when we used to be in school, we used to actually share clothes all the time. Mm-hmm. So we used to we had dudes at school to be like, hey, I see you got that jersey on. Hey, I'm gonna swap you out. I'm gonna bring my jersey and let me get yours, and we can switch like that.
I just told a story today. So I got this thing to where it's a good thing and a bad thing. Like my memory is like an elephant, but that can work against you because I don't know how to let stuff go. I don't know how to just let things be. Like I hold grudges forever. And so the new Jays is about to come out next Saturday. The taxis, the 12s, right?
Okay.
The black and white, and it made me have a flashback. Like I had the original pair that first came out, and I wore them to school, and a third grade classmate of mine stole my J's. And so like it's kind of like when I see certain items that kind of take you back in time, I gotta have those now.
Have you ever had a pair of Jordans, Jason?
Yeah. So when I was a kid, I had them all the time when I was a kid.
So you had. I would love to see Jason Lloyd with all the J's. So you had them. When is the last time, like you as an adult grown man, with a grown job and the W-2 was like, you know what, I'm gonna get these J's that just dropped today?
No, I don't. I buy them for my kids. Well, actually, the LeBrons.
Yeah.
My oldest loved I got all LeBrons, and we had the cheat code. So the Nike store in Portland, outside Portland, is the employee store, and it is crazy deals. So anytime we go to Portland, I mean, you can get brand new LeBrons for, I don't know, I want to say like $60.
That's
60, $70.
Crazy.
So, it's all like that. And I had FaceTime up. I was FaceTiming my wife, and I was like, which ones do you think? And the employee came out like, you can't have that on in here.
Oh, that's
like,
exclusive?
I was like, are you kidding me?
Like,
I'm FaceTiming my
wife. I'm trying to ask what size she wears.
To get
and she's
for the
like,
kids.
nah, this G14.
So what I used to do? So like when G used to host on the barbershop on 92.3 The Fan, I was his producer. And on the app, the Jays drop every Saturday at 10 a.m. So like what Mikey do, structure the rundown, structure the topics. I used to always make sure he had a guest at 10. And I'll bounce out just so I can go order my J's.
Bro.
So like
funny.
I was always hitting.
That's
G would never
funny.
have an opportunity to even get them. Like,
That's
no, G,
funny.
you got a guest at 10.
But
Yeah.
that Nike store, I saw Harold Reynolds in there one day with like 3 shopping carts.
For ESPN?
Just
Yeah, Harold-
overflowing. Just
the,
overflowing
the
of
not
gear.
Major League Baseball guy?
Yeah, well, like all of them roll through there.
That's
because that's
crazy.
where Nike headquarters are, and you have to have an in. You can't just walk
can't
in
just
off the
pull
street.
up.
But we knew if you cover the NBA, you knew all the Nike reps
Yeah,
and everything.
see.
You're always around, so the Nike rep will get you in, and you got all these dudes like Harold Reynolds is one example. There's a ton of them. They got like 3 and 4 shopping carts. They're doing
This
their Christmas shop and everything else.
Man.
The last time I had Jordans, I was a kid. They were, I don't know what they were. They were gray, and they had like a funky tongue with like yellow and blue, and I don't know. I was a kid. This is the last time I owned Jordans.
Now I'm going to have to call Google and say, what Jordan?
I'll find
number
them.
was that?
I'll find them.
What number
I'll
was that,
find them
Google?
during the show.
That's
but
so
my boys love the LeBrons.
Yeah.
And AJ likes Giannis's. I think he's worn Giannis before.
I like them Giannis's too. I like them, and they ain't that expensive. You can get
No,
them
they're
for
not.
like,
We got those.
like-
I was surprised how cheap they were.
You go in there and get all of them. Be like,
Yeah.
let me get them Giannis's right
I
there.
remember on that same trip, we were after a Cavs game, and I told LeBron, I'm like, your shoes are too expensive, man. These are outrageous. And I said, I bought a pair at the Nike store, and they were, and he's like, good, keep buying them, good, keep buying them. It was funny.
McNuggets, man, you listen. You know, I'm not gonna keep buying no LeBron. I like the LeBrons a little bit. I
The
don't know
LeBron
what-
ones, the best ones to me.
Oh,
The first ones?
I love those.
Yeah, those
I love
fire.
those. So what we got today, McNuggets? You good? You straight back there?
We're doing good.
Okay.
Busy weekend. We got all 3 sports on the docket today. Gonna talk some Browns, some Cavs, some Guardians. We got a special guest with a new book coming out who's joining us at the very end of the show. But let's
Sweet.
dive into an important Cavs win last night, guys, after a quick word from FanDuel. The NBA season is here. The NFL season is here. Hockey is here. and there's no better time to join the FanDuel family than right now. If you're a new customer, you can place $5 on the FanDuel app on any bet you want, and if it wins, you get $300 to use in bonus bets across the app. That's right, $5 can turn into $300 in bonus bets if that first $5 bet wins. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to download the FanDuel app today and get things going. All right, guys, the Cavs back on the winning ways after beating the Atlanta Hawks last night. Was not a pretty game by any means. Was not pretty, but a win is a win. Donovan and Jaylen Tyson down the stretch, the main offensive initiators for the Cavs. We'll talk about Jaylen Tyson in a bit, but Earl, you and I were sitting next to each other at the game, along with Jason. By no means a pretty win, but is a win, and the Cavs were able to pull one off against a team that gave them fits last year.
Yeah, I thought the win was a win. I thought the Cavs came out hot. I thought they came out with a lot of energy, G. They went up to a quick 10-0 run, before Atlanta got their first points. But just the efficiency and the energy that they came out with, I thought it was different from the previous games before. We understand that it's early on in the season. We have not even played 10 games yet. We are dealing with a lot of injuries from a lot of different key guys. And what I appreciate most about this team is they find a way to be competitive every single night. I think that we are learning about the young core, the young group of guys that we have outside of the main dudes as well. And I thought Donovan and Kenny both talked about it yesterday that, this thing is a process. And this team is learning and growing as they go through the process. You got some new faces in here, and they're learning how to play off of each other, right? He talked about Lonzo Ball learning how to play off of him. He talked about the rookie Tyrese Proctor learning how to play off of him and things like that, or learning how to play off of Evan Mobley. And so as we didn't get off to the start that we got off to last year, I think a lot of people who once said that the regular season no longer mattered is starting to hit the panic button. But there's no need for that. If anything, I kind of appreciate this right now, right? Mm-hmm. I appreciate us going through this process of learning who we are, going through the adversity, going through the early season injuries, et cetera, so that you know what type of team that you have down the stretch. And I think young guys getting the opportunity to play early on is going to have a huge benefit. A guy like Jaylen Tyson, who has scored 18 points in 3 straight games, Mike, I think he had a career-high three-pointers made last night against Atlanta as well.
Correct, 5.
Yeah, and then you see what he's been bringing on the defensive end. It's like, man, he's made a huge leap from his rookie season to this season just within 7 games. He talked about right now he's playing with a whole lot of confidence, and the key is just to stay even keel and stay right there where he is all season long so he can be a contributor. He's earning a legit role to me, Jason, as far as a rotational role, not just come playoff time, but like once everybody is healthy, Kenny now has a tougher decision to make if he continues to play like that.
Yeah, he'll stay on the floor, but more importantly, I found my last Jordans.
Those are it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Those is it. Them is them, what's the name?
Oh, those fire.
The 7s.
Yeah.
Air Jordan 7s.
So I asked Jason before the show, I said, when the last pair of J's he got, he said it was gray and colorful tongues.
So he had the 7.
So
I had to find him.
He had to find him.
So I didn't hear anything you said because I was looking for the last Jordans.
Jaylen Tyson is a bucket getter.
Yeah, Jalen's got a role on this team even when everybody's healthy. I do think that. And Mike and I were talking before the show. It both stood out to us how Kenny said Jaylen could be a $20 million. He told Jaylen he could be a $20 million player in this league if you play defense and make threes. And that's what the Cavs were trying to get out of Isaac Okoro for a number of years. And they got the D, but not so much the 3, at least not to a level that would make other teams respect them. And Jalen's already a better shooter than Isaac was. I think he'll get there defensively. I think a lot of defense's effort. I think he can get there. But I kind of like. I wrote about this today. I kind of like watching them sort of play left-handed. And I've talked about that on the show before about. Mm-hmm. Especially during the JB era. And you guys know I defended JB quite a bit. Mm-hmm. I like him a lot as a head coach, but they got a little bit too predictable sometimes with just running pick and rolls and it was a very vanilla offense. But I like that it's a little bit clumsy right now going through Mobley. And I know people are out on Mobley again and saying he's never going to be that guy. Okay, that's fine. I don't think they're going to win if he's not that guy. That's the thing that I've been preaching is you have to play through him and make him that guy if you have any shot at winning a championship because you know how far a Donovan-led team can get you. It's the second round. We got plenty of evidence of that. So if Evan doesn't get there, then I have real doubts as to whether or not this team is currently constructed can win a championship. But we're also 7 games in, and I don't care if it's clumsy and clunky. You have to keep doing it. especially while these guys are out. Now is the time to do it. 57 threes last night is way too many. Kenny talked about that after the game. Mike and I talked about that at length during the game. I thought Mike hit a great point.
What's the sweet spot for that? Because I know they want to shoot threes, and that's what you
Mike
got to do. What's
asked
the
him
sweet
that,
spot?
and he said he really don't know. He said it's not a number.
You can't
it's
put a
feel.
number. You can't put a number on it. I mean, I agree. 57 is too many. I think in this game, I think right around 40 is plenty. Mike, I don't know. Do you agree or disagree with 40?
I think it's a little more is needed, to be honest with you.
You think it's higher?
Slightly. Like, I'm looking at the team leaders across the league right now. Boston leads the NBA, 47.3 threes per game. The Cavs are second in the league right now, 45.2. Especially without Darius, especially without Strus, especially without Merrill for the last couple of games. I just don't think that's their right recipe for their ultimate success offensively. But I think Lonzo kind of said it best in the locker room. He said if you're open 57 times, then you want those shots. We can't be forcing it. I think the reason they're shooting so many threes, and Jason and G, I'm curious what you guys think about this. Without their full rotation right now, they just don't have a lot of guys that are getting to the paint, right? Like their whole offense last year was built on getting to the paint, kicking, getting those layups and threes, kind of eliminating the mid-range. They put out a lineup yesterday, and I looked over at Jason and I joked. And I say this respectfully because I understand they're all NBA players. They had a lineup out there with Evan Mobley, Tyrese Proctor, Craig Porter Jr., Dean Wade, and who was the fifth person?
Now you made me look at the picture because I took a picture of it.
You took a picture. It may have been the worst offensive lineup ever put out on an NBA court together. and it was only out there for a minute. It was just to get.
Was that the lineup that Spencer asked Kenny about?
No, that was because that had Don and Evan on the court.
All right, I see Proctor, I see Wade, I see Evan.
Craig Porter Jr. for sure.
This guy's bending over and it's blurry. I can't tell who it is. So that's not very
was
helpful.
it's
Lonzo.
Oh, it was Lonzo. So you just don't have any scores. Like
right.
We'll talk about Evan. He's so much better when he's catching and going downhill than he is from 26 feet out initiating. Kenny said after the game, like, it's a learning process for Evan. We're still trying to figure out where he likes to get the ball so we know, hey, later in the season when we need this to actually work and we care about winning. And by the way, Kenny said last night they don't care about winning right now. Like, Jason asked him the question directly, Jason. His answer was, yeah, I don't really care that we're 4-3. Like, we're trying to figure things out. So everyone who's freaking out about wins early in the season, the head coach of the team told you straight up, we don't really care about winning at the moment.
The point he was making, like, Proctor's a good example. He said Proctor made some mistakes in the first half. He was getting a little aggravated. He was getting ready to pull him out.
Then he's like, nope.
Then he's like, screw it. Leave him out there. Mm-hmm. And he did some things that Kenny liked in the second half. And Kenny's point was like, hey, if it's April and we're playing for seeding, we probably have a different lineup on the floor. But it's October. It's November.
So that's what I'm saying. Like right now, they're
that.
willing to go through the growing pains of letting Evan sink or swim in these situations, even if it's not giving us the results that we want.
And part of the reason why I like that is because, and listen, I'm not poo-pooing winning. Mm-hmm. Everybody loves to win. And the 15-0 start was really fun last year. And it got a lot of interest in a team that, frankly, nobody saw coming. But at the same time, it also turned this thing into like an all-gas, no-break, where it was just off and running, and it felt like, and I want to be careful of this because like they sat Donovan when they were unbeaten. Yeah. And they said this was the game we had circled. We were going to rest them. We're going to rest them. So they stuck to their plan. I'm giving them credit for that. But yet at the same time, I don't know that they felt the luxury to sort of tinker and tweak a little bit like they can now because they got a couple early losses because they have all the injuries. So you have a built-in excuse of we can see how different things look. And I mean, they're going I was talking to somebody about this morning. They're going to win 50 or 55 games if Evan and Donovan stay healthy. Those two guys alone can get you to 50 wins.
Just by there.
So they'll be fine. You're going to be fine. Now you can get into and we can have this conversation in March of, do you need home court against X team? Like, do you want to fight? We're not at that point right now. Right now it's who do we have? Who can we help? Who can help us? Mm-hmm. And it may not even be for 18, 20 minutes, but in a 4-minute stretch, end of the first quarter, start of the second quarter, who of these guys can we count on in April in a first-round series? That's really what you're looking for right now. And I mean, you're not necessarily saying on November 2nd, can Tyrese Proctor play 4 minutes in game 3 of the – but you're looking for skill sets. You're looking for things, places where these guys can help you in the playoffs, because that's all this season is about. And I hate that we're at that point, but we are at that
It's
point.
funny because, like, to add on to what Jason said, I think after the game Friday, Kenny talked about, injuries suck, and it's unfortunate. But also true, you don't learn about your team unless you go through adversity. If none of these key guys are hurt, then you're not seeing this many young guys play early on. Kenny said last night, young guys need to play. And to the audience out there, he's still committed to playing 10. That's how Kenny rolled. That's his philosophy. And so when you build up, these young guys' confidence by getting them minutes early on, you might be able to see if you can have somebody that can help you, come April. Because what if somebody get hurt again? Like, you don't want to be in a situation to where you're towards the end of the season and now they're getting legit quality minutes and they're not learning. And so I think everything now is about just going through the growing pains, learning who you are as a team, and figuring things out. I'm with you all. I'm excited about it because we're not even fully healthy, and we see a team that's still competitive while they're learning on the fly.
I mean, Tyrese Proctor is the second-round pick on a team that could win a championship.
Facts.
And he's getting rotation minutes in November. Like, that's
crazy.
Highly unusual.
It's nuts.
That's the type of guy who is supposed to spend most of the season in the G League.
Right.
And maybe he'll eventually get there when everybody gets healthy. Maybe he'll go down and get some run down there because there just may not be minutes for him. But this experience that he's getting now is invaluable to a guy like that.
And it's not like he's getting
The
embarrassed.
beauty
out
of
there.
it, though, is he really
Correct.
wants it. And Donovan said that yesterday. That's half the battle when you really, really want to be good. This man, every time that they're on a flight and they're on the road, he is sitting right next to him breaking down film, watching film. When you talk about the guys like Donovan Mitchell, Jaylen Tyson, and Max Strus, who are always first ones in the gym, Proctor then somehow found his way following behind them every single place they go. Somebody who wants to be good and wants to be great is going to be willing to put in the work no matter what.
I'm gonna tell you this, and you get ready to cut it. I know, man. You get ready to be ready for the bombshell here. When I saw Jaylen Tyson, right, the way he's playing, and I done watched all 6 games, right. Imani Bates is my guy. I can see why they had to move. And no knock against Imani Bates. I wish him all the luck in the world, bro. And I'm always rocking with him. But Jaylen Tyson, to me, is, I'm very surprised at his game, and it's because of the way he's knocking out open jumpers. He already had a NBA type body. He already had an NBA feel. Like when you see Jaylen Tyson, even when he played in Summer League last year, and I stay watching these Summer League dudes. I said, oh man, he got an NBA type mentality. He got an NBA game. It looked like he was just at all the right spots. He knew where to be. And if he can get to a point where he can start to understand the NBA defense and the rotations and really lock down on that, I'm with Jason. Like, he gonna make some money in this league because he got the body type. He's and the fact that he's shooting the ball with such confidence down the stretch and he hitting shots like that, I'm like, if that was any of the other dudes, Isaac Okoro, them is misses. So I'm anxious to see what his role is moving forward when they do get to the playoffs.
You remember when we drafted him and Mike did a phenomenal job of breaking down his strengths and his weaknesses, right? And Mike talked about like he was great off the ball. He was a slasher, a guy that just kept moving. But one of his Achilles heels was his jump shot was slow as hell.
Yeah.
And he's found a way to mechanically speed up his jump shot. And to your point about Imani Bates, Jason, and you know this too, he's being willing to accept the role that the Cleveland Cavaliers is asking him to play, and he's thriving in that, right? Mm-hmm. And so, like, when you believe in the system and you believe in the coach's plan for you, and then you are willing to put in the work yourself, these be the results right here.
Well, congratulations to both of you for finding a way to crowbar Imani Bates in the conversation. I thought we'd move beyond that, but I was wrong.
They was like, that was smooth. That was smooth how he did that.
That is mad disrespect to Jaylen Tyson to compare him to Imani Bates. I'm sorry.
Couple things on Tyson real quick. Earl, you mentioned him speeding up his jump shot, right?
Right.
I asked him about that last game in the post-game interviews. And he said, yeah, I've tried to mechanically work on it, but a lot of it's just confidence. Like, I'm not thinking anymore. I'm just shooting now. I'm just playing basketball. And, G, I'm sure you could relate to this. When you made the jump from high school to the collegiate ranks playing defense, it's just a lot more intricacies to the schemes, to the schematics, the gaps, where do you have to be, whatnot. Basketball's the same way. And last year, And I think it shows in some of the numbers, and obviously he was playing a lot fewer minutes, so the numbers were going to be much lower. He was trying to think the game, and he was scared to make mistakes. And when you're a young guy who gets a chance to go in and play, a lot of times you're so scared to mess up, you're thinking through everything way too much. Right now, he's just playing. He's just playing. He's had 18 points in 3 straight games. He did that one time all of last year in 47 games. It was the last game of the season against Indiana that went to overtime when the Cavs rested all their starters besides Jared Allen, who did the tip and then came out. He's got 15 threes in 7 games this season. He made 20 threes all last season, guys. Played 47 games. Granted, a lot of it small sample size, small minutes. He made 20 threes all last season. He's got 15 in 7 games this year. He feels more confident. And Jason and Earl, you guys were in the post-game locker room when Donovan talked about the fact that the players around him trust him now. And Jaylen said, I'm not getting some of these looks last season, even if I was playing these minutes, because they didn't trust me to make the right play. Or they didn't trust that I was going to make that jump shot. But through the summer, through training camp, from them seeing how much work I'm putting into this process, they now feel confident and comfortable in me being with the ball in my hands in some of those situations. And that does so much confidence for a young player. So he's been a really, really impressive part of the Cavs start. And I think he's making a case that even when Strus and DG and Sam and those guys are healthy, he's going to have a spot in this rotation some way or another.
I agree. There's a spot for him. And we don't have to go too far down this road because it's November and we got this whole season to play out. But they're going to have some hard decisions to make maybe next summer in terms of second apron stuff and Lonzo's option year. And this maybe if they don't win a championship this year, I think that there will be some. They can't continue to exist in the stratosphere, and we can talk more about that later. We don't have to get into it now. The only reason I bring it up now is because Jaylen and Kenny sort of referenced this last night. Jaylen on a rookie contract is huge to a team like this, and credit to the Cavs for continuing to find these guys. I mean, Jaylen was a 20th pick, and a lot of guys' success in the league has to do with what system are you in.
Right.
And right now, what they're like, this isn't Cal where Jaylen was asked to do everything. Right now, defend and shoot threes. Like, that's it. Just be a 3-and-D guy. And I talked about Okoro earlier. If he can do that, if he can defend at a high level, and if he can knock down open shots, he will have a significant role on this team because when you get back to the drive and kick, when Donovan's on 2 legs again, when Darius is healthy, when they can get back to sort of their drive, kick, swing offense, he's going to have a ton of open looks. He just has to knock them down. And, that's good scouting to go out and get them. And they've done a nice job with some of these, and we'll see what becomes of Tyrese Proctor. But some of these late first-round picks, second-round picks, undrafted free agent guys, they've done a really nice job of developing.
So let me ask you, because to that point, I actually asked Kobe about that Friday when we were talking, and I said, to me, when you look at the CBA and the NBA right now and how everything is, I think that when you're in the situation that the Cavs are in, it is so important to hit on your picks. And what I've noticed is that for the last 2 seasons, Kobe Altman has brought in guys that are collegiate veterans, right? And you understand that there's a learning curve to the NBA, but the fact that you have such a long tenureship of playing collegiate basketball, in my opinion, I think it's making that learning curve not as steep for some of these young guys because you're seeing this massive jump from a guy like Jaylen Tyson from year 1 to year 2. You think about where we are right now, year 3 with Craig Porter Jr. versus where we was with him when we first met him in Media Day 3 years ago, right? And you think about now the young kid with Proctor. And so to me, when you continue to bring in guys who have a lot of college experience, and on this particular team, when your head coach is all about growth and development, it makes it easier for them to get caught up to speed by the time that they're in their second year in the NBA. So, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the veteran college players with a ton of experience fall because the ceiling it may not be as high on them, and the NBA is all about projections, and that's why the younger guys go in the top 10 and 15 because they project out to have a much higher ceiling, where a guy like Jaylen, who stuck around in college, is a little bit older, may not have the ceiling of Arisha Shea, or Banchero or whatever like that, but he can come in and help a team if he's put in the right spot. And I go back to the Delhi contract. I've talked about this before. Delhi had a very specific role on that championship era team where he had a ton of open looks, And he knocked down a lot of those open threes because he was playing with Kyrie and LeBron, and he turned that into a massive contract for Milwaukee, and he was not the same player when he got to Milwaukee because now he had to be the guy. And there wasn't LeBron and Kyrie to open all of that space up for him. So if Jaylen went to another team, he probably wouldn't have the success that he's having here, but it's all about fitting in system.
Totally different team, and I'll let you go. But to his point, you see that going on right now in Boston, right? Derek White looks totally different this year than he did last year because, like, Tatum isn't there, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, you're now being forced in the role you're more of a creator and you're more of a playmaker to where, you know, you were getting a lot of easy or clean looks late in the shot clock because the focal point is Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. So, like, that's a great point right there.
It's different. And McNuggets, I don't know if we're gonna touch on this a little bit, but I think this is a perfect segue because we talk about Evan Mobley, right? And we talk about where they want to see him be at in terms of a guy that's a facilitator, getting the ball and running the offense through him. Well, there's some of the same things that you can apply to Evan Mobley. When you are a guy who's used to being a third option behind Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland, and a guy who came out that was young and was one of the biggest projection type guys. You know, in college, he was asked to block a lot of shots, rebound, and be a great defender, and then dunk and get a couple moves down low. Now they're asking him to run the offense through him, initiate, find guys open, swing if they double team. Is that something that some of his struggles could be the fact that he's being asked to do something this year with a lot of guys being out that he's never done and it's going to take a little time?
Yes, the Mobley thing is really fascinating to me because we've talked about this on the show in years past where a lot of times when you're the number 3 pick and you are looked at as the guy, the team around you isn't very good. And so, I mean, think like Zion in New Orleans early in his career. You're going to feed him, you're going to feed him, you're going to feed him. You want his growth and development. That's the most important thing is we got to get this guy up to speed, and we want him to be the leader of the franchise. It doesn't matter if we win tonight. This is a bad team. So we just want to get him comfortable and maximize his skill set. That was not the case with Evan. Evan was the last piece dropped in here, not the first. They already had a pretty well-constructed team. And Kobe's made this point a couple times. All Evan knows is winning, and that's true. But it's come at a little bit of a cost of his development because they were focused on winning games, not developing Evan Mobley. That was never the focus. So it was sort of drinking out of a fire hose for him because it was like, come on, like we're competing here. We're trying to get to the playoffs, and we're going to bring you along as we can. And how many times we
That's how that fire hose goes.
and how many times have we talked about on the show in years past? I don't understand. Why can't you just give Evan the first touch down the floor? Get him comfortable, get him acclimated. Well, now they're trying to do that more, but now they've got like a championship team built, and so they're almost like reverse engineering this. Okay, now let's make Evan comfortable.
Can you juxtapose that, Jason? Because you talked about this before. You was there with the run. I kind of feel like it's parallels the way with Kevin Love. Remember when we got Kevin Love and he averaged 26 to like 14 or something?
Fat Kevin was a beast.
He was a monster. He came here 50 pounds lighter, and now you with LeBron and Kyrie. And I remember that they always, at the beginning of the game, Kevin Love got the first touch.
Yeah.
Every single time. Do you see some certain parallels with him and Kevin Love trying to figure it out?
Well, it's different because Kevin was an established superstar when he got here, and all of a sudden, like, he was not liked. And he told me, he goes, man, all I wanted was one of these. Like, just give me a.
We like you.
It's going to be okay. That's all the man asked for.
You know?
That's all he asked for.
A dot with a snap at the end.
They couldn't do it. They wouldn't even do that. So he had to sacrifice the most. So he went from being the guy in Minnesota to being a spare part here.
Yeah.
Where Evan was always sort of the guy. I wouldn't say he was the spare part early in his career, but his development was not the focus of the Cavs. The focus of the Cavs was win as many games as you can and make the playoffs. Well, now they've established that. Like I said earlier, with Evan and Donovan, you're going to win 50 games if they stay healthy. That's the baseline is 50 wins. So now you're sort of reverse engineering this of, okay, can we play through Evan? What does that look like? Yes, he's clumsy as a playmaker. Yes, he needs to tighten his hand a little bit. So now you're trying to do that while competing for a championship. But again, with no Darius, like, this is the time to do it.
Yeah.
And 7 games isn't enough. Take this thing till Darius gets back and even farther. And, Mike made the point yesterday, I dropped this in the piece, Pacers still had a losing record in January last year.
Right,
Yes,
right.
And look how it turned out for
Facts.
them. It was January 2nd, I think. I looked it up. I think it was January 2nd or 3rd when they hit 500. And then they sort of took off. So keep playing this way. Play left-handed. Be uncomfortable. It's fine. You're going to lose to Toronto once in a while. Okay. Like, everybody just needs to, within the Cavs, everybody just settle down. Settle down. It's okay. Not a big deal. And this is going to be a very, very, very good team in April, May, and June. And everything is just a building block to get to that point.
So some of my family and friends have met Mr. Lucas here, right? And they've heard me and Mike both talk about all this Evan Mobley stuff. I got a phone call yesterday saying, like, hey, you and Mike owe me money. So I'm with Jason, though. I would just tell people, like, chill out. We done played 7 games, man. I'm still all in on Evan Mobley. Do not sell your stock. Here's the truth, right? Through his first 4 years of his NBA career, his leap every single year has kind of like seemed like it's been seamless, right? Mm-hmm. It's been like a smooth jump. Donovan said something yesterday that really, really stood out to me. That sometimes you put in the work and the payoff don't come right away. And in real life and in all of our profession, I'm pretty sure we can all think of a moment to where we knew we was busting our ass, we knew we was putting in the work, and the results just didn't come when we thought they would come or how we thought they should come. Evan is still figuring out when to use all these different tools that he got in his bag. Evan is still figuring out when to pick his spots and things like that. We didn't play 7 games. Relax, and we ain't even fully healthy. Let him work it out. Let him figure out what's what and hit the ground running when it's time.
He may not get there. He may not become the player that I think he can be. He may not. I just think they have no choice but to maximize him now. Mm-hmm. It is their best chance. If you're talking winning the championship, we talk 50 wins, like whatever. That no one cares about that. But if you're trying to win a championship, I believe it has to be Evan that gets you there. And if he fails, they will fail. That's the path. As this team is presently constructed, and we'll see what happens after the season and what type of changes they make. Like him hitting that Defensive Player of the Year thing really kind of screwed them financially. And it's a shame. I think it's dumb the way that the NBA salary cap operates, but the reality is him winning Defensive Player of the Year and the extra percentages he gets really hurts their books going forward. So he has to be that guy on both ends of the floor, I believe, for them to win a championship. And if he doesn't get there, they won't get there.
I'm going to toss it back to the leader of the Evan Mobley hedge fund, Mikey McNuggets. He has a lot of stock, including his palatial condo on the Lake Erie. So you got that. It's already mortgaged, McNuggets. So, hopefully he does his thing.
Little teaser for tomorrow. Also, Donovan played awesome last night. We didn't mention Donovan at all, but he had 38 points on basically one leg. So shout out Don.
8 threes too.
He's a monster.
And this is a topic for tomorrow. But G, you are on with Dustin and Tyvis, 3 guys who played sports at a high level. We're going to use Evan Mobley as a leaping off point. We're going to talk about why progress isn't always linear and why some players develop in certain ways faster, other guys may take longer, and why progress and development is not always a linear step-by-step A to B to C to D process. So that's coming up for you guys tomorrow. Let's pivot, though, and talk a little football after a reminder that Supply House is a proud sponsor of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting on projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. Join the free Trademaster program today and score some serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and dedicated support lines. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free using promo code SHNFL5 for 5% off your offer. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service, whenever you want. All right, guys, the Browns did not play this week. It was the bye week.
Thank
God. For a very refreshing weekend. G, I'm curious from your football expertise. You had bye weeks in college. You have bye weeks in high school. You've talked to guys in the NFL level who go through bye weeks. What kind of realistic changes can happen during a bye week? And we're talking specifically the Browns, but are you flipping schemes? Are you adding new wrinkles? Are you potentially reevaluating position battles? What kind of actual changes is a coaching staff looking to make when they get that bye week throughout the middle of the season?
Well, traditionally, I talked to a couple of people that were assistant coaches and coordinators over the weekend, just to kind of get a feel for how you go about the break, how you go about resetting your mind, and a lot of it is basically self scouting. Going over, looking at your guys, evaluating who you're playing, looking at some of the younger guys, saying like, hey, what are we doing to work on those guys, the Zach Zenters of the world, figuring out, hey, what's the program for Mike Hall Jr. You're doing a lot of self-scouting and trying to figure out specifically in that week where you can get better and reevaluating some things that you're doing. Obviously, the offense is already in. Most of the concepts of who you are in, you're not going to change that, and you can't change that overnight. So you're now trying to figure out, okay, based on what we have and based on what we have in the locker room and the positions and guys that we're playing, what are some things that they're doing well? I don't know about everybody else. I mean, if Malachi Corey is going to be getting touches and he's going to have two plays where he's looks explosive, you want to give him the ball some more. You want to give him more reps. Like, you want to look and see what guys are doing what and evaluating, because sometimes you have a depth chart that you want to look at and you may say, well, we already said we're going to give Isaiah Bond a long runway because he's one of our most athletic guys. But maybe you have to, if you don't have receivers, you have to deploy him a little differently. Give him some trick stuff. Figure out some other ways to get him some touches. And then the major thing is you got to find out how to incorporate your best players. What are you doing in the run game and the run fits with you guys like Jerry Jeudy, Quinshon Judkins? How can you get those guys the football more? And for the players aspect, you're just getting away from a little bit, man. Like, it's very important to get away and to kind of reset your mind to get ready for the second part of the season and kind of rally the troops a little bit, right? Get some guys back healthy. And then the more than anything, it's the mindset and what you do internally to get people ready to go.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I mean, the scheme is the scheme at this point in the season. Your concepts are what they are. If anything, you could just self-assess and add some new wrinkles to the situation. I think what you said about, exploiting your best players a little bit more is something that should be done. This is an analytically, based front office here, where analytically you should be figuring out a way that Jerry Jeudy sees at minimum 8 targets a game, right? You should be analytically figuring out different run scheme concepts that was kind of spring Quinshon Judkins a little bit more. And so even on the defensive side of the ball, and the defense has been better than not, through the first 8 games of the year, but move Myles Garrett around a little bit more than what you have been. I started to do that, like, as we got closer to the bye week. Hell, I even do it with Denzel Ward. Move him around a little bit more, right? You got to do something a little bit different as far as wrinkles to kind of change the results of what they've been. But for the most part, I don't think it's much you can do outside of just self-reflecting from an organizational standpoint. If I'm a player in this league, I'm getting away from everything football. I'm getting away from everything that reminds me of this season. I'm going to spend some time with my family, my friends. I'm going to do something that's fun. I'm not even watching anything that got to do with sports. I am totally detaching from any and everything so that I can come back with some fresh energy and just get ready to rock.
Yeah, it's the last thing. I think it's an emotional and mental cleanse for a lot of these guys. And they're in the past, guys who are rehabbing injuries, sometimes they've made them stay in Cleveland. But if you're healthy, get out of here. Just get out, go home, go on vacation, go lay on a beach somewhere, take 3-4 days, especially in a season like this, and just sort of detox. And I don't know that there's some magical X and O scheme that they're going to come up with a week off with the personnel that they have. To me, it's not really about that. It's just about getting away from each other. These guys spend so much time with each other. They're around each other so much in the building, really from July on. Just get some time away, man. Recharge the battery a little bit and try and figure out a way to win a couple more games in the second half. It's really not any more complicated than that.
Yeah, I mean, this game against the Jets, I think is pivotal, like, because you had 2 weeks of preparation.
So did they, by the way. They was on their bye week as well.
Oh, so they locked and loaded too. This game is going to tell me a lot. It's going to tell me exactly where they pivot or where they go from here. Because if they win the game and they get a win, that resets a lot of things. You know, it's just like we watched with the Miami game, right? You win a game like that, it kind of resets where you're going, and if the thoughts is, okay, well, now we've shown some tangible results. We might not be making a change at quarterback. We might not be, I'm not turning the plays over. I might not be doing none of that if you can get a win. But if you come out here and you lose, then, you know, it adds more pressure on you because it's a bye week, it's a Jets game, and this is one of the games that people circle as a winnable game. So the Miami game, they did what they needed to do because it was Miami. We circled it, they got it. These are the games you got to get. If they don't play young guys and they lose against the Baltimore Ravens with Lamar Jackson, amen, it's the Ravens with Lamar Jackson, dog. But this one, I got to have. I got to get this one, right? Because it's in front of you, and the Jets are a winnable football game for a team that don't have a crazy amount of wins that you can just check the boxes off of.
Yeah, I ain't going to lie to you. I guess how they win, to me, would matter more if they win. I don't think them just winning this game will kind of like tell me more than what I think I already know. And I don't think it's going to change my personal opinion on where my stance is with this current regime as is. I look at this situation as you got two teams that are bad teams that both had an extra week to prepare for each other. You got a head coach that's tenured versus a head coach that's a rookie head coach. The defenses are both pretty stout. Quarterback play on both teams is horrific. You can flip a coin and see who got the worst pass catchers. They got Garrett Wilson, so their receiving core is probably better than ours. It would just matter to me how we come out here, how we play, and if we were to win, how we win. You look at, you know, some of the games from yesterday, for example, right? You look at the Titans and the Chargers game. The Chargers ultimately won that game, but the Titans was in that game because they scored touchdowns on defense and on special teams, right? Not because their offense put them in a situation to have success or put them in any type of situation that made their fan base feel better about anything. So let's say that's the Cleveland Browns. We get another pick six and we get some type of special teams touchdown, but we got like 110 total yards offense for the game.
110.
That ain't going to make nobody feel better about the situation at hand. If Kevin, if Dylan, if everybody in the offense and they come out here and they play average or competent offensive football, okay, then that causes for another conversation. But to me, it won't be just about if they win. How do they look like? How do they perform will kind of like make me get off of whatever it is that I'm on. But if they just come out here and it's the same old, I don't really feel like that changes anything.
Mike, you got something?
Yeah, you mentioned the regime there, Earl, and this wasn't necessarily on the rundown, but I wanted to ask you guys this real quick. G, I know you tweeted about it yesterday, but if anyone missed it, Joe Flacco went out and had another monster game for the Cincinnati Bengals. He threw for 450-plus yards, 4 touchdowns.
Jeez.
I believe he had 2 interceptions, the second one coming on that last Hail Mary attempt. G, I'll just let you start because I know you tweeted about this, but
Man.
Going off the regime, is Flacco's success in Cincinnati maybe I don't say nail in the coffin, but like the final indictment you could have against Kevin Stefanski here?
You know, it's so crazy because, look, I totally understand that there's a level of difference between what the Browns have at wide receiver and what they got. I mean, I can't tell you the chasm isn't big enough. The chasm is like it's inexplicable. Like it's the largest gap of talent that is probably in the league, right? You know who they got at receiver. However, the problem is I'm watching how Joe Flacco is maneuvering, and I'm watching him throw the ball downfield, and I'm watching him do some of the same things that I saw him do here prior to that. I'm watching and seeing how he moving. And when you got your quarterbacks and you got your offense that's struggling to get 100 yards or a little 150, and then you see a dude that was out here that you saw with your own eyes being checked down Charlie, and he goes somewhere else and has not had an offseason, nothing, and he just come out and throw for 400 something. It was 3, then it's 4, 11 touchdowns. That hits you right in the face, and it's hard to be like, yeah, we couldn't get this man, with our offense, we can't get nothing jump started. We can't get 100, 200 yards, right? So you going to look at that, and it's in the division. So it's like, to me, I got to figure this out because I told, when this happened and Mike Tomlin said what he said, so I got to ask Jason, it's hard for me to believe that that both of these people in the organization, Kevin and Andrew Berry, was both on point and both saying that they should trade Joe Flacco.
I don't think Kevin wanted to trade him. I think when you mentioned Tomlin, I think Tomlin was sticking up for Kevin because, again, I mentioned this before, Mike and Kevin spent a year together in Minnesota. I think there's more of a relationship there than people realize, and there's a respect factor both ways more than people realize. No, I don't. This is tricky because I don't think you want an echo chamber between head coach and front office. Mm-hmm. That's bad. When everybody's always in agreement and everybody always sees things the same way, I don't think that's healthy. I think you need to have pushback. I was talking to someone about this week in a different sport about it, and the way it was put to me. And this isn't groundbreaking. Everybody's heard this before. You want to have disagreements. You want to have back and forth. You want to have pushback. But at the end, you want to be able to hug it out and go to dinner together and still be in one accord. But how can you do that when you're talking about trading a quarterback? How do you get to the point where you're hugging it out I don't know how you do that because somebody wins and somebody loses. Right. Somebody's on board with that and somebody's not. Of course it's a bad look that Flacco keeps throwing for 300, 400 yards. Of course it is. But you can't, but I don't think you can just dismiss it as I mean, Jamar Chase had 42 targets over 2 weeks. This isn't any sort of great design offense. Right. This is Joe Flacco saying Jamar Chase is the best receiver in the NFL. I'm going to throw it to that guy 20 times a game and see what he can do. Jamar is one of the best receivers in the game at catches within contact and contested catches. So it don't matter if he's covered. Just throw it to Jamar. That's what they're doing. So, yes, the talent – what would Flacco's numbers be in Cincinnati if he's throwing to Isaiah Bond and Cedric Tillman? Would he be throwing for 400 yards a game? No. He's not getting of course not. It's who he's throwing to that has a lot to do with it. So, of course, it makes the Browns look bad because everything the Browns do blows up in their face and makes them look bad in the end.
Real quick on that, Jason. And then, Earl, I'm dying to know what you know on this. We trust Bull with a lot of things. And when it comes to his feelings on the coaching situation in Cincinnati, he's very adamant and has been very adamant forever that he thinks Zach Taylor is a horrific head coach. So when you look at this Joe Flacco resurgence again, his second resurgence in 3 years over the last 4 games, he's doing that kind of in spite of a coach that at least one person, Bull, who we know watches the Bengals better than we do, says sucks too. So I like a hard time evaluating it in terms of, is it scheme, is it play?
They're not running any exotic play. Listen, I don't watch the Bengals every week. I have a hard time believing they're running some exotic schemes. Joe Flacco's dropping back and throwing it to the best receiver in the NFL 23 times a game. I
think it's real simple concepts. I think that they are making it real easy for Joe Flacco to have success to where he don't have to think too much about anything. He completed 5 balls to his third string wide receiver for 66 yards. I asked Mike and Ant, I said, well, who got the team high on the Browns? And it's Fanning with 81. And so their third string wide receiver has 66 yards from Joe Flacco yesterday. Is it the final nail in the coffin for Kevin Stefanski? No, for the simple fact, I feel like, man, at this point, it's just like we're just overpiling nails. The final nail in the coffin probably came at the end of last season or somewhere last season. Now we just add nails on as we get through the 2025 season. When you talk about the actual trade itself, based on everything I've heard from how everything played out, I'm not even sure if Kevin Stefanski knew what the hell was going on until after the fact. I thought it was quite alarming that unsolicited, he said this caught us by surprise. How it was explained and how Joe Flacco broke it down, that the Cincinnati Bengals called Andrew Berry. Andrew Berry said, hold on, let me call Joe. He got Joe on the phone and said, look, I got the Bengals on the phone. You tell me what you want to do. I'm going to holler at you. You want to stay in Cleveland or do you want the opportunity to go play football in Cincinnati? He said, well, hell, if the Bengals want to give me a chance to start, Kevin had already made the choice. Dylan Gabriel, his quarterback here, I'm saying, I'm going to go ahead and go to Cincinnati. And so to me, based on how it was explained, it just seems like Kevin Stefanski didn't get a phone call and get his opinion on the situation at said time.
Now, I would need to get your opinion on this, Jason, because I heard Mary Kay, she was on 92.3 The Fan, and Mary Kay said, I think she was on with Baskin and Phelps, and she said that they came up, the organization, let me make sure I'm correct, the organization made a decision before the season that Kevin Stefanski was going to be more the spokesperson, right? That he was going to be the person that would be talking. Now, given the fact that what Earl just said and McNuggets and how the trade went down, I still don't understand how Andrew Berry does not have a conversation because of what's out there, right? What's out there, Earl is saying, what's out there is looking like y'all traded Flacco. Kevin went in on it. And it wasn't like we didn't have a bunch of moves that they made. So this would have been a perfect opportunity to explain that.
I didn't hear Mary Kay say that. We got out of town last week for a few days, so I dipped out on a lot of this stuff. That is, if that's what the Browns came up with to explain why Andrew didn't talk last week, that is a horrible excuse. Because Kevin is a horrible spokesperson for the organization because he'll never say anything.
Right.
So that is, that's flimsy. And I think it's a terrible look that AB didn't talk. He should have talked. There have been enough big moves made.
Huge ones.
That he needs to stand up there because I've thought this all the time. It's unfair to make it doesn't matter who the head coach is. The fact that they run that dude out there 4 times a week, 5 times, and make him talk while everybody else hides in the background. I really like the way, we've talked about this, I think I mentioned this before. I like the way that the Guardians do it. When it's in the mud, Chris is out there answering questions. And when it's good, Chris a lot of times hides in the back. Antonetti, of course, I'm talking about, hides in the background. But when it's in the mud and when there's stuff to talk about, whether it's Class A and the gambling thing or trades or it's just not going well, he is out there answering those questions. And that's how it should be. And more organizations need to do that. Jimmy's the only one that tells the truth. Like Haslam's the only one that tells the truth. And he talks twice a year. But he didn't care. Like, Jimmy didn't care. He owns a team. Who's going to tell him?
We can't do nothing.
Who's going to tell him to shut up?
I mean, why would – I'm just trying to figure out because Andrew has talked – AB has talked every year at the bye. And one of the biggest things is the whole quarterback situation, right? So Kevin is out there, and Kevin has to answer for the Pickett. He got to answer for Gabriel. He got to answer when Shador going to play. He got to answer, hey, when is Joe Flacco? Hey, you keep seeing him throw for 450 yards. He threw for 500 today. What you think about that?
Yeah.
And every single, I'm like, dang, bro. He like at some point you would think that he shows up and be like, this was our rationale behind the Joe Flacco thing.
And that's what aggravates me about. That's one of the things that aggravates me about Kevin. His paranoia level seems to be getting worse the longer he's in the job. I thought it would get better the more that he's in there. It's gotten worse. And the fact that he won't say anything about anything.
Zero.
It's like, this is football, okay? You're not hiding the nuclear codes.
the launch codes.
We're talking
this ain't
about
White House down.
we're talking about football, and you suck, and your team sucks, and you've sucked for 2 years, and no one will give an explanation.
Nobody.
And now the GM is hiding under the bed covers. It's a terrible look for a terribly run organization. Like, again, I know everyone thinks like I'm always out here trying to defend Kevin. When is the last time I said they should not fire him? I said I would not fire him, but I've said since the end of last year, you want to fire him, fire him. There's certainly a case to be made for that. This has not been, I think the problems with the Browns, I've been consistent on this. The problems with the Browns run so much deeper than the head coach. You're seeing that play out in real time. No one will take account for this stuff.
Yeah.
No one will come out and talk about it. And the fact that, again, you had a plan at quarterback. You had 2 veterans. You drafted a guy in the 3rd round who wasn't supposed to play, who was supposed to be the developmental guy. Now he's your starter, and the 2 veterans that you gave all the reps to in training camp are both gone.
What
are we doing?
I can't get past the fact that on draft day, it was Kenny Pickett was the one texting draft eligible guys, hey, come on. As he was the starting quarterback,
I mean,
right? So
he never played it down.
But think about this, though.
Because he pulled a hamstring.
Because he pulled a hamstring. But think about this,
they didn't cut his leg off. He pulled a hamstring.
He did all these reps. He never play it down. And when we was all out there at training camp, he was the one who looked the best with Jerry Jeudy, right? Flacco, savvy veteran. We believe we know when Flacco. Now Flacco ain't here. And then you get Jerry Jeudy going to the locker room and say, man, I don't know what's going on around here, right?
And again, I have go on me finish.
No, go. So like for me, like yeah, the issues run much deeper than the head coach. But like for me, Jason, like I'm way past like points per game. I'm way past scheme. I'm way past concepts, right? Because nobody wants to come out here and take accountability, man. To me, one of the core values of having anything healthy when it comes to relationships, associations, business, and in sports, communication and transparency. Nobody inside that organization wants to communicate effectively. Nobody wants to be transparent. And when we get up here on our platform and we assume or we like kind of like come up with these conclusions or these narratives, people want to shoot back at us like we're wrong. But we're only going off the information that we're given. To me, when it comes to Kevin, it just seems like he may or may not have lost some of the players in the locker room.
Oh, I think defensively for sure.
I
think he's lost some of the defensive
Like when
guys.
you got guys like Jerry Jeudy coming out saying that, and you got guys like Grant Delpit talking about, I don't even know what winning feels like, right? It just seems like stuff like that never used to happen early on in Kevin's tenure, and now it's happening now.
Well, they were having success early in his tenure.
To me, it's like, it's hard to have blind faith in a motto and a message and a philosophy when you're consistently losing.
And listen, I always say this. I've been consistent when I be saying, when you talk about the level of paranoia, I always tell Kevin, I said, listen, man, there are things that you can say that will help yourself. Like, it would help you. Like, if you would just communicate and use the media and say, look, man, hey, we're in a tough spot right now. You know, we're in a tough spot. We're trying to prepare 2 rookie quarterbacks. That's a tightrope, people. You know what I'm saying? I got one guy who's playing, and we got a 3rd round pick. He's young. He's playing quicker than we thought he would be playing. So now we got to give him every opportunity. We got another guy who is another 5th round pick that we like and think has a skill set. But how do you get 2 people? We're learning on the fly here. And if he said that, people would be like, I respect that.
But don't come out here and say, oh, I like my wide receiver room.
Yeah, don't tell
just to be a company guy. And to Jason's point, like, we don't know if there's any pushback. Pushback is healthy. Like, back and forth dialogue is healthy. We have it within our own family here at UCSS. If everybody agreed, if everybody got along, if everybody just saw everything the same way, you wouldn't get anywhere. But I'm starting to believe that in private, when they're having these conversations, ain't nobody saying, no, that's not a good idea. Or, no, I don't think we should do that. Like, y'all keep making it seem like that every time somebody says something, if the other person don't agree, they just sit on their hands and just roll with it. And they get in their feelings, and then we see it as fans. Like, based on how they move, how their body language is, anything like that.
Do you think, Jason, that I'm interested in seeing how this thing, I won't say devolves, but how it transpires? Because I did hear that Kevin ripped into some people after one of the losses, and called some people out, which was eye raising a little bit. Do you think that as this continues, Kevin might start to say, man, listen, if I'm going down my way. Y'all gonna have to. I'm gonna do it this way, and this way. Do you think he starts to speak, or is that just not what he's in? That's not his character.
I don't think that it's his character. Usually, he joked about it. Like every once in a while, the Philly comes out, so it's in there. But it's never going to be It's never going to be a weekly thing. That's just not who he is. And again, a couple of years ago, I've said, and I still think that's part of his strength, is when you have an organization as the Browns are, part of what makes him, I believe, still a good NFL head coach is his even-handedness and his even-keeled. Because when you have emotional, reactionary people in the organization, you need somebody who can hold on to the reins. And there are obstacles within the Browns that don't exist at other NFL franchises. And that's part of the reason why I've defended him, because I just think he's done a good job of managing a lot of the landmines that being the head coach of the Cleveland Browns brings. Again, I'll go back to the quarterbacks. They had a plan for 24 hours, and then they blew their home plan up.
Was it 24 full hours?
I don't even think it was that. Well, I mean, once they had Dylan in place, that was their quarterback.
That was their quarterback.
And Jimmy told you when we left the draft Friday night, drafting Shador was not in the plans. Yet Saturday, they draft Shador, and now both veterans are gone. And but this is what it's like operating within the Cleveland Browns. Like, it's landmine after landmine that you're constantly trying to navigate. I don't think it's coincidence. I was thinking about this last night at the Cavs. I don't think it's coincidence that the most hands-on owner in town has the worst team in town. It's not even close. The Dolans are completely hands-off.
We don't even see them. I don't know. They're Dr. Claw. I ain't never see them speak. I'll get you, gadget. I don't know what the heck.
Dan is more involved now than he was 3-4 years ago, but still not anywhere near the level. The Cavs didn't win a championship in 2016 because they had a healthy culture. Cavs won a championship in 2016 because the best player on the planet won them a championship.
Yeah.
That culture was a disaster.
Hey, them boys, they was throwing soup.
I mean, the Cavs have a better foundation and culture now than they did when they won the championship. And I think a big reason for that is because of Dan's health issues. He has pulled back in a lot of his day-to-day operations. He still calls the big shots. He still picks the coaches. He's still that's just how it is. But on the day-to-day stuff, he is not nearly involved as he was prior to his health issues. And look what the Cavs front office has been able to build without the interference of ownership. The one team in town that has the most interference from ownership is the absolute disaster. That's why I keep saying, guys, the problems with the Browns run so much deeper than the head coach. It's not a head coaching issue so much as it is an organizational, cultural identity issue.
Do you think, this is crazy, I've said this, I don't think in terms of, the quarterback situation and when, Shedeur Sanders plays with Dylan Gabriel, when that operation and whatever that's over, I completely think that it's not going to be Kevin Stefanski that makes the decision. He's going to say, I coach the football team, and as long as I'm here, we going to play who I say play. And for the most part, I think the Cleveland Browns have honored by that.
Yes.
They haven't meddled. But I do think that if it comes to a point, Shedeur Sanders is going to be put in by the owner. They'll call down and say, Kevin, and if that happens, this is the question I got. If that happens, you talked about not coming back from certain things. If he makes that call, is there any coming back from the perspective of the relationship between Kevin Stefanski, Andrew Berry, and Jimmy Haslam if they force his hand on that?
Is there any coming back? Well, I mean,
between their relationship, because they haven't.
It depends on how Shedeur plays, and everybody blames Kevin for running Baker out there when he had the shoulder injury.
Yeah.
That was not Kevin's call. That came from above Kevin. Keep running him out there. They got to make a decision on the contract. Keep running him out there. We got to know, is this guy any good or not? Can we invest $300 million in him or not? So it's been done before. It wouldn't be the first time. But if Shedeur goes out there and balls out, no, I don't think Kevin wants to play Shedeur. I don't think so. That's pretty obvious. Is that really groundbreaking?
No.
So if Shedeur goes out there and balls out, and you asked me last week, if Shedeur goes out there and plays great, does Kevin get credit for it? I said no. Because Kevin didn't want to play him. So now if Shedeur goes out there and he plays great, no. I think it's probably more reason to fire everybody. And everybody keeps talking about final nail in the coffin. You guys can have all the nails you want. Jimmy's telling you he's not firing the coach. Like he said it again a couple weeks ago. The Deshaun trade was a miss. Kevin's done a good job holding this thing together. The owner keeps telling you he is not firing the coach. So you can have as many nails as you want, and you can pound them on top of each other. That coffin lid ain't closing. The thing that I believe would close the coffin lid is Jackson Dart. Like, Dart is playing really, really well. Our columnist, Ian O'Connor, wrote a column today about how Jackson Dart is going to be the savior of New York football. If that's the case, that is how you fire these guys. Because, nobody was talking about Jackson Dart at the top of the first round. I don't care. How many times did I say, I am paying you for your evaluation of this quarterback class. And if you're telling me there's nobody here worth taking, okay, then we're going to punt and we're going to get one next year. But by God, these dudes that we pass on better not hit. And for Dart, and I don't know I don't watch enough of the Giants to know.
The reports are Kevin saw him up close and personal. Is that correct?
I am 99.9% positive that he was in attendance at Pro Day for Ole Miss.
I mean, who's the special teams coach? His name fell out of my head.
Who was his head coach at the Senior Bowl.
Bubba had him at the Senior Bowl all week. So they had plenty of intel on him. So I don't care that, the fact that, he fell to 25th and nobody was talking about him, I don't care about that. I am paying you as the president or the GM of this franchise, and I'm paying you as the head coach to evaluate this talent. And I don't care what anybody else thinks I don't care if someone thinks that this is a second-round pick or a late first or whatever. If you're telling me this guy's a franchise quarterback and we can win with him, we're going to take him. And the fact that they said no, I don't like – and the whole Gabriel thing, like there's no other great quarterbacks. And what other great quarterbacks are playing well in this draft that they passed on? Like Cam Ward struggled at the top. You couldn't get to him anyway. Dart's the one. I keep telling you, Dart is the one. But other than that, Tyler Shuck, we'll see.
So I got a hypothetical question to that because I'm really curious to know how that conversation may have went. Because you just said, I am paying you to evaluate this quarterback position as the president of football operations and you as the head coach. We talked earlier in this segment about them being lock and step when it comes to decision making, or if we don't know if somebody is giving healthy pushback or not, right? If they seen Jackson Dart this up close and personal, right? And it's been reported that up until now, Kevin Stefanski had never gotten the opportunity to pick his guy. Like, when you go to that third round, like, how do we not know that Andrew Berry didn't say, you know what, I like Dart. I think Dart has X, Y, and Z. But Kevin was like, you know, like, there's something about Dylan Gabriel that I absolutely like, right? And let's say that they couldn't really come to a fair conclusion. But at the end of the day, Kevin got this I never got the opportunity to get my guy. So what if he picked Dylan Gabriel, not because he believed in Dylan Gabriel, but because he wanted to finally award Kevin with his guy?
I have no idea. I have no idea what Andrew Berry felt about Jackson Dart.
Right.
I don't know. I do think Kevin did want Dylan. But again, he was picking over some pretty spoiled groceries all along. And Dart's the one that could be the guy that you missed. That he was right there for you. You had a chance. You could have traded down. You could have traded down again. And you still would have gotten
traded up to get him. Remember, they had the 34th pick. The pick after the Browns in the second round. That's the pick they traded essentially, plus a future asset to go from 34 to 25 to take Jackson.
So what's the future asset, Mike? You know?
I could tell it was a 34th and a future second or third.
You went from 2 to 5. You could have traded down again to 8 or 9 or whatever and taken him there just to make sure, because you don't want to screw around. If you think that's your franchise quarterback, take him.
Right.
How many times do we say that during take him? But clearly they didn't feel like that was the guy.
This was the compensation, by the way, for Jackson Dart. So they moved up to 25. They gave up 34 and 99. So a second round pick, 9 picks later, and then the 99th pick, a third round pick, and a third round pick next year. So 2 3s and a 2 to get back into the first.
So and again, I've banged on Jimmy a lot for how that they operate, how they function, but I don't know how if we'll see how Dart plays the rest of the year. But and I don't know how Jimmy views Jackson Dart, but if Jimmy looks at Jackson Dart and goes, man, I'd like to have him, that'd been a pretty good quarterback to have here. I don't know how you can continue to trust these guys if you miss on Dart. How do you trust them to take the next guy?
Real quick on the Dart evaluation, too. Shout out to Evan419, who just texted me these 2 tweets. I don't know how he found these so quickly. But Albert Breer tweeted on 3/28 that one of the more interesting attendees to Ole Miss Pro Day was Kevin Stefanski. That was the same day that Jimmy Haslam and Barry were looking at Abdul Carter. So same day, Stefanski went to evaluate the quarterback. The other 2 went to evaluate Carter. And then on 4/8/25, so 3 weeks before the draft, the Browns hosted Jackson Dart on a top 30 visit. So between the Senior Bowl, attending Pro Day, and hosting Dart on a top 30 visit.
They had plenty of
That's
information.
plenty of information to make a decision on whether or not he could be the guy you really
And
want.
maybe
right, man. That's nasty work, as G say, man. Like,
and maybe Dart collapses over this. I don't know. We got,
but we don't believe that, though, do we?
Stay healthy. The dude plays reckless in a fun way, but he can be concussed and be seriously hurt on literally every run he has.
I don't know internally what they truly felt about him, but I'm just saying, if Dart turns out to be a franchise quarterback and he turns out to be the guy that turns around the Giants, that's a bigger mark against this regime than anything you want to throw out in terms of stats, in terms of offense, in terms of play calling, because there's no talent on this offense. None. I'll die on that hill. But it's evaluation, and it's trying to rebuild this offense. And if you can't identify the pieces that do hit in the NFL, that to me is a bigger indictment than anything you can talk about in play calling and anything else.
A bit of breaking news. The Cleveland Browns have designated wide receiver Cedric Tillman for return to practice. So Cedric Tillman. Say what you want about Cedric
T.
Cedric
T. Everybody got a nickname.
We got a little upgrade at that point.
T.
And the club has also released safety Devontae Casey. So a little news and notes from around the league.
DK.
Beautiful. We're going to get to our next topic, guys, after a quick word from our friend Cody.
I'm Cody Ward from Locked On Broncos, and this episode is brought to you by Peloton. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ. This is Peloton's most advanced equipment yet, giving you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or you're cross-training with your favorite instructors like Alex Toussaint. It's training reimagined to make your workout more personal. Peloton is built for breakthroughs with features that help you plan, stay motivated, and hit peak performance. You can let yourself run, lift, flex, and go while Peloton handles all the rest. Plus, Peloton IQ provides real-time strength coaching, tracking your progress and suggesting weights that challenge you so you can get stronger. Plus, the new movement tracking camera, it counts your reps and corrects your form in real time, making sure every rep is safer and smarter. So, let yourself run, lift, flex, push, and go. Explore the new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus at onepeloton.com.
All right, thanks, Cody. Guys, the trade deadline around the NFL is tomorrow, and over the weekend, Adam Schefter put out a report on how some teams, at least from what he's hearing, are planning on operating for the next 48 hours. This is what Adam Schefter said about the Browns in his article this weekend. Quote, though Cleveland has already completed 3 trades in the past month, acquiring Cam Robinson, sending Joe Flacco to Cincinnati, and swapping cornerbacks with Jacksonville, most sources believe the Browns will be aggressive in acquiring players before the trade deadline. He goes on to say the Browns do not sound inclined to trade tight end David Njoku, but they have been calling around the league looking to add quality young players to the roster. Earl, when you hear that from Schefter, it makes it sound like they may be more buyers than sellers at tomorrow's deadline. But is that what you believe is the right direction the franchise should go in?
Absolutely. If you can acquire some young, talented players that can be a part of this roster, for the next 2 or 3 seasons, then yeah, that's the move that you make. As a fan of this team, I don't ever want to see you just to kind of like check out on the season while we're still in the season. Do I think we're going anywhere? No, but do I still want to see effort and them at least try to improve this roster somehow, some way? Absolutely, I want to see that. So if I can get me a young up-and-coming wide receiver, somebody with some raw potential that probably got like 2 years left on this deal, I'm trading for him. If I can get me a young offensive lineman or another interior defensive lineman that might have a couple years left, then I'm going to try to see what I can do to trade for him. This team needs an infusion of youth, and this team needs to think long-term when it comes to roster building. And so if you can acquire some young guys now that can be a part of your future, then I'm here for it. I'd even take it a step further because I know David Njoku's name has came up a lot lately as somebody that we can possibly trade away. But I would really, really strongly consider signing David Njoku to a 2-year extension. I don't think Harold Fanning is your traditional tight end. I do think he's the tight end of the future. But if you don't have like David Njoku out there, then you got Harold Fanning Jr. as your tight end 1, and you don't even have a quality pass catching tight end behind him. Or then that moves your blocking tight end up a roster spot, and then now you got a hole in that situation. I think re-signing David Njoku for 2 years, it gives Harold Fanning the opportunity to develop. It gives you the opportunity to draft another tight end now. And in 2 years from now, you got Harold Fanning with 3 years of experience. You got a second tight end with about a year of experience, and then you can get you another rookie. So I'm all about adding young talent to this team as we try to turn the tide.
You know, Jason, the one thing I'd be looking at is they got a lot of for all that we said about this one draft class. And don't get me wrong, this draft class is cooking. I give you that. But for everything we talk about this one draft class, the reason they got to go out and make trades for more people is because of the massive misses. Like, you don't have nobody signed under contract to play offensive line. So you just mentioned David Njoku, who you might have to bring back. Jason has mentioned Wyatt Teller, who you might have to bring back because you don't have anybody to start from scratch with. The Zach Zinner. I don't know if Zach Zinner can play.
He can't even get dressed
Can't
on
even
Sundays.
dress. He ain't even dressing.
How are you going to go from you can't even be active to starting next year?
It's like crazy. You don't have we still talk about Cedric Tillman and Jamari Thrash and the receiver core. Like the problem with the Browns is they've missed so many times that their best players are through trades. It's almost like they have to wait for somebody else to develop them, and then you go trade assets and money and pay them and bring them in so you can plug and play them, instead of being the opposite, where we draft, we put them together, and we do our thing. They got massive holes. And the thing that and the scary part about this is, and I talked about this on the barbershop. I said, look, if you decide that you need a quarterback, right, and that's what they're going to do, they're going to decide you need a quarterback, and you got to use assets to get the quarterback, then we're going to sit here next year and say we don't have the assets to go get. I mean, I watched Cardinal Tate. I'm like, good gracious. You could have put Earl back there at quarterback. You got a Cardinal Tate out there. He automatically is now better. Get me one of them tackles. Give me somebody where it ain't 3.5 seconds where we trying to run a trick play. You can't hold up the second because they in the backfield. We got to throw the ball in the dirt. Get me somebody so I can evaluate these folks, right? Because right now, I don't know about y'all, I believe the offensive line and the receiving core is so bad, I don't even know if you getting a legit look at who's good.
Well, yeah. And are they going to be buyers at the deadline? I don't know. I guess you have to define what buyer means. I would like them to add something that would be here for this year and next year in the pass catching world, just so that you can give Dylan and Shedeur a fair shot. Right. Like, I don't believe Dylan is a franchise quarterback. I've said that from the beginning. But I don't know how you can really give a fair assessment of him. I'm not going to go through it all again. You got slowest receivers in the league who can't create separation, who can't make contested catches, and who lead the league in first down drops. How can you possibly, and the same goes for Shedeur, how can you, if and when Shedeur gets out there, how can you give him a legitimate shot when there's no one who can catch the football on this team? So, yeah, I'd love to see them. And that's why the Njoku thing, first of all, I don't believe anything you say. I don't, because they were going to keep 4 quarterbacks until they didn't.
Right.
They weren't going to trade Kenny Pickett until they did.
Yeah, you told us a lot.
They were going to take Travis Hunter until they traded down. So I don't pay any attention to that. But if the best you're going to get for Njoku is another 5th, just keep them, because you've got to have somebody to throw to.
At least something.
For Dylan and for Shedeur. I don't know if I would extend him. I don't know if I'd go that far. I think he's heavier and slower than he was a few years ago.
I do agree. He don't look good.
But you've got to give these young guys some sort of chance. You're not going to find an offensive lineman worth anything on the trade market at the deadline. You're going to find another Cam Robinson, and that's not going to do you any good. You have to draft and develop your offensive line.
Why is it, and real quick before we go, what's wrong with Tevin Jenkins? They got him from Chicago, Tevin Jenkins, and he
that whole signing was weird. I think he's more of a guard than a tackle. I don't think they want to play him at tackle, I guess. And you've got 2 guards already in Joel and Wyatt. Now this is probably Joel's last year.
I thought he played a little tackle.
I think he's got a 2-year deal.
I think so.
I don't remember.
I thought just
now.
the first year was guaranteed, though. Hold on.
Yeah, I don't know what the guarantees are.
Maybe they don't like him at tackle.
I mean, Whippler maybe he's the center next year. I don't know how they feel about Whippler. Maybe
Jenkins is not under contract next year.
Okay.
So maybe Whippler you can slide in at center. I don't know if they'll bring Wyatt back or not. I don't know. I certainly wouldn't trade Wyatt. Again, you have enough problems on your offensive line. Why would you create another hole that you can't fill unless you're going to plug Tevin in? If you feel comfortable enough with Tevin, I mean, if you can get something for Wyatt, I don't know how much he's actually going to bring you. Mm-hmm. But I would not – I don't think I'd sell off any more of these pieces. But if you can find a receiver who you have under control beyond this year, who can give these quarterbacks a shot, that's all you're trying to do, man. Just give these guys a shot. And because right now there's just nothing to throw to.
What about the kid in Indiana that played for the Colts? He's been in the doghouse with his team. I think his first name is Adonye. I don't want to mispronounce it.
Oh, no, Adonai
How
Mitchell.
do you say it?
Adonai Mitchell.
Adonai Mitchell. What about a guy like that? Like when I think about a young wide receiver that might have a year or 2 left on this deal that his current situation might not be working out for him like pretty well. I think about a guy like that. This dude is about 6'2". He's fast, and I think he can play some football. But I know, like, in Indiana right now, like, his situation is not the best. And so when I talk about, like, targets, a guy like that can be a quality wide receiver trade target for the Cleveland Browns.
They need size. Their receivers are so small.
Yeah.
They've got to get more size and someone who can go up and fight for the ball and make a contested catch. I don't know. It'll be interesting 24 hours to see what they do, to see the route that they go. But I would like to see them. You're not going to find a lineman who can help you at this point. But if you can find a pass catcher.
I mean, if you can get one of those guys to, and like you said, I'm just be honest with you, man. When watching the film, the first thing that jumps out to me is these guys. The catch radius for the Cleveland Browns is microscopic. I mean, the ball got to be on them. They're not going to make no catches if the receiver is in the area or the DB is in the area. They're not making the 50-50 balls, right?
So let me ask you this: Did we overrate the wide receivers last year? Like, and I'm saying us on this show because when we did roster breakdowns and we were talking about positions, and I'm asking out loud because I legit can't think if we talk about this receiving core this bad like we talk about it this year.
Well, I don't know about I don't remember what we said about him last year, but I know coming in this year, I said all summer, this was a terrible offense last year. Mm-hmm. What did they do to improve it? How many times have I said they traded down?
Do anything to touch it.
They traded down from 2 to 5, and they took defensive players with their top 2 picks. They had no interest in improving the offense because they were trying to be bad.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I've been asking for receivers from day one, Earl.
I mean, I have too, but the only reason
DeAndre Hopkins 7 teams ago.
The only reason why I brought that up. The only reason why I brought that up is because outside of Harold Fanning, essentially this is the same group from last year, right? And I know Cedric Tillman had some games to where he balled out. I mean, Jerry Jeudy was dropping the ball last year, and he still went over 1,000 yards. And I'm not by any means saying that this wide receiver room is good. It's bad. Like, it is bad. But at the same time, like, it was bad last year, and I don't remember us speaking about this group with the same temperature and the same tone that we speaking of it now.
Well, Jeudy had a good year yardage-wise. Jameis had some big passing yard games when he took over. But I don't know. I don't know that anyone is glowing about.
I think I could put ourselves back in that mindset. So Jeudy obviously had the drops, but you had a 1244 was his final number. A guy that we were saying should have been or could have been in the All-Pro conversation.
Right.
So that automatically elevates how we talk about an entire room. And he's taking a giant step back that none of us could have predicted, right?
Right.
We've seen players regress. It's not like he's 30 years old, hit that no one could have seen this regression coming. We liked Tillman in the couple games he played, but he was injury prone. All the Tillman conversations were, if this dude can stay healthy, we may have something. He has not proven to be able to stay healthy. They brought in Isaiah Bond as an undrafted free agent. He's been completely hit or miss, a lot more miss than hit.
I hated that signing. I was on record.
Everything that you could have asked for. And they hoped Jamari Thrash and guys like that. David Bell was someone they were counting on. Now, I know we weren't high on David Bell, but like those were – I don't think anyone was sold on this receiving room. But the regression from Jeudy has made it go from, we don't love it, but they got at least one guy, to now we're looking at a barren wasteland of
the regression of Jeudy and the decline in Njoku. Like when this offense was popping 2 years ago, it was because Amari Cooper was having a phenomenal year.
Yep.
And Njoku was a great number 2.
Yep.
Shout out to our guy, Darren Smith, who covered the Kansas City Chiefs. He just texted me, Mike, and he had this, and I thought
he
this.
He texted you Tyquan Thornton? He texted me
Tyquan Thornton. He said he's being underused now that Rice is back. He's tall, he's fast, and he has great hands to catch the football.
Can you get on the phone with AB? Let's get it going. Cause I always said Jerry Jeudy is a side dish. When you got Thanksgiving coming up,
so so somebody out here treating him like he macaroni and cheese and it's a main course meal. When in reality, they go on the side with some greens, some yams, some cornbread, and some barbecue chicken.
Yes,
that makes sense.
I don't even have to say nothing. Yes, Lord. Yes,
that makes sense.
He got he's a mac and cheese. Mac and cheese don't get it. Listen, if you got a bomb mac and cheese, that get it done. But you can't have mac and cheese and collard greens, and then you looking like where the ham, where the turkey.
Anytime I've ever seen somebody eat mac and cheese, it's just like that's for dinner. Like
But
What?
You got to have something to go with him. So if Jerry Jeudy does not perform, or he's a game-to-game dude. Say, for instance, you got 2 receivers. The other guy's a 1. He's a 2. If Jerry Jeudy's not catching the football, you still got somebody to prop him up. And if he get it going, it's like T. Higgins. I'm not looking at T. He's great, but I'm not looking at T. Higgins first. T. Higgins gets his off of Jamar Chase. We need somebody else.
Yeah. And, I mean, how many times this over the summer? This season is a fact-finding mission. Well, guess what? You found the facts. You are lacking severely in the receiver room.
You've messed around, found out.
But that's what this season was. This season was all about figuring out what you have and what you still need. And what you figured out was there ain't a whole lot on offense that you have, and there's a whole lot that you
They
need.
tried to tell us during training camp Jamari Thrash was standing out above everybody else, man.
Stop.
All right,
Stop
guys,
the madness.
we got our guest ready, so let's bring in Josh Womack here in a sec. After a quick word from FanDuel, sports are the best, and FanDuel is the best sportsbook to bet on sports if you want to partake in such an activity. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if their first $5 bet wins. That's right, pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/UCSS and download the FanDuel app today to get things started. With that, we are thrilled to welcome in Josh Womack to the show, who wrote a new book called Sweaty Stories from the Cleveland Schvitz that I cannot wait to learn a little bit more about. How you doing today, Josh?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
We're doing great.
Listen, let's get down to it, man. You got I pulled it up. You got the book on Amazon. Tell us a little bit about your Cleveland experience and what made you want to write this book.
Well, first of all, has anyone here been to the Schvitz?
No, I've heard about it.
You've heard about it?
I've heard about it, but I
Okay.
have not been.
Okay, so the Schvitz, long history, started in 1927 here in Cleveland, coming up on its 100th birthday. And it's one of those kind of if you know type of places in Cleveland, especially if you're from the east side. It's probably a little more on your radar. But really, it's an old-style bathhouse that's obviously still in existence today. And I had my bachelor party there in 2019, which was a great time. I was a little bit of a late bloomer. I didn't get to the Schvitz for the first time until I was like 26, 27.
Oh, okay.
But I wanted to write a book on it because it's one of those Cleveland places I wanted to learn more about. You just don't know much about it. There's a couple articles online here and there, and there's a lot of folklore and stories behind it, and I just really wanted to learn more.
So that's where all the deals go down, huh? Is all the handshakes and backdoor that's where it goes down, right there in Schvitz.
I've never heard of a bachelor party at a Schvitz.
I mean, it's pretty much a 365-day-a-year bachelor party. That's kind of
right.
That's kind of the vibe of it. So it's basically, you walk up the stairs and the visual kind of overtakes you. It's a bunch of guys in towels, smoking cigars, chomping on steaks, and then all you do, you eat steaks, you steam, and then you wash, rinse, and repeat, and that's it.
That's kind of crazy. Earl, I ain't never heard of that.
I got what inspired you to have the bachelor party there?
I'm pretty low-key. I don't like to... I don't know, like my wife had her bachelorette party down in Charleston, and I was like, I want to do something a little more low-key. I don't want to make this very expensive for my guys, So I think we were there at 5 or 6 o'clock. We were home by 10 or 11. It was pretty chill.
See, the way that my marriage is set up, I had to sign some paperwork that said I couldn't have no bachelor party. That's the way it works. So
yeah.
But the first one though, the first bachelor party wedding, woo, that was crazy. I'll write a book about that one day. No, I won't. So what makes this, in your opinion, what makes this thing like so unique? Like what makes it like the first thing that if you go to it, what's the first thing that jumps out at you about this place?
If you ask, a guy who grew up in Northeast Ohio, a lot of guys will say the Schvitz day is their favorite day of the year. So it's almost like synonymous with this type of weather, this time of year, a gloomy day. You go to the Schvitz, you warm up, you kind of feel better. And even guys who've moved away, who've moved to Columbus or out of state, I feel like a lot of the people that I interviewed for the book, they make it a point to come back at least once a year. And if they're here for Thanksgiving or Christmas, they dedicate one day to go to the Schvitz. So it's very much a place that I think holds a lot of special memories for people. And then in the past few years too, it's a more inclusive place. They do co-ed days, they do ladies' days. For a long time, it was basically an old Jewish white guy place. You know what I mean? So I'm surprised. Yeah, you guys haven't been there.
Because when he was talking, he was like, you know, if you're from the east side, you're familiar. And I'm thinking to myself, damn, I'm ignorant.
Hey, Mike,
I don't know nothing.
Mike, you messed up. You got the wrong. Where is Bull and Jay at? Like
Bull would for sure know about
Bull.
this
I
Schvitz.
think Bull might have co-owned it at one
I've
point in
asked
time.
Bull if he's been. I've been to the Schvitz. It's awesome. I actually highly would recommend it.
What is happening?
I mean, no,
It was
because
one
I
of the
feel
first-
bad.
when I
You didn't
moved here-
introduce me and Earl.
What is happening?
Like I was confused.
Schvitz is awesome. Josh, I'm curious though. When you're researching this book, you're a huge sports fan. You're a retired Brown season ticket holder.
Yep.
Were there any sports ties that you found between the Schvitz and Cleveland sports lore?
Yeah, I had heard some stories from some old timers, and again, the years and years go back, so kind of time, kind of fades the memories a little.
Yeah.
But they said there were some Browns players back in the day who would come the day after a game and kind of do their rehab there. Just kind of sweat it out,
Right.
do a cold plunge, eat a good meal. I did hear one story about way back in the day, Joe DiMaggio passed through there. So that's, I can't confirm that. That's just
Wow.
kind of a story that I heard. But yeah, I would say, it's a place where, a lot of people have kind of passed through. And then I think you asked too about kind of deals and handshakes and things like that. I do have a couple stories in the book about old timers, guys like Chandra Burns and Danny Green, way back in the day.
Yeah.
And there's some very interesting kind of parts in the book where a lot of that history kind of ties into the Schvitz because, again, it's a place where deals go down because you can't wear a wire.
Right.
So there you go.
Little Chicago.
Yeah.
Do you still have to be Jewish to get in?
You don't. And it's funny because the current owner, he has a great quote in the book. He says he's trying to de-Jewify the place.
So are there people that look like Earl and G in there?
There is.
I'm going with my locks out, tattoos out. I'm going with the whole nine.
Can I wear my jewelry in there?
Yeah.
So let me
You
ask
guys
you
are
this.
welcome. You guys are welcome. You will not be turned away at the door.
Listen, we're gonna listen.
You can
Don't
drop
make
my
me
name.
call you. Hey, listen. Yeah, they got us outside. I know somebody though.
So let me ask you this. You said they're coming up on their 100th anniversary birthday. So, of course, writing this book, I'm pretty sure you did a lot of research and talked to a lot of different people. What was the biggest thing that you took away as far as from an educational standpoint that you found out about this place that you didn't necessarily know?
I think, so there was one girl that I interviewed for the book, and every time, when she was little, every time her dad came home from the Schvitz, he was always in a better mood. So it was probably a mix of the whiskey, the steam, and the steak,
Right.
where he came back and he just, not that he was a better dad, but he was just kind of more silly and goofy. And so for this particular young lady, her dad had passed away. And then when the Schvitz started kind of opening up their doors to ladies' days and co-ed days, she made it a point to go there. And I went to actually a co-ed day on the day that she was there, and I was talking to her a little bit. And when she walked in, she actually got a little emotional because she went to the top kind of bench of the steam room, and she wondered, like, is this kind of where my dad would have steamed? And then when she was in the dining room, she's like, would my dad have kind of like picked this seat? And these were the same hallways that her dad had roamed 20, 30 years ago that she never got a chance to go to. And here she was in her early 30s and finally got a chance to experience it.
I'm a nostalgic type person, so I watch a lot of YouTube, and I'll go home and I'll get in a time machine and I watch these videos from like 1930s. It'll be like 1930s footage, but what they do is update it and make it HD, so it put it in color. So they go through these places, and I got caught watching in Cleveland where these old school cars going around down the road, and guys with the top hats, and just got men always wore suits. And I get so nostalgic hearing this because it just reminds me of how community-based people used to be. Like these places were places you went to be in a community with one another. And the fabric of the community was based around these little hubs like this, where it wasn't just everybody knew your neighbor, right? It was you weren't down the street and they'd be like, hey, that's so-and-so's kid right there. That's John's kid down here. Take a look out for him, make sure he's good. And me growing up, I came up at the fringe. Jason a little older than me, but I came up where I caught the fringe of that, where our grandmothers and grandparents were of that community and thought process. And today, even after, especially after COVID, we kind of lost a lot of that connectivity.
I agree.
And so how important is it to keep these these traditions going and moving so that we can have that sense of community?
Yeah, I mean, I think, back in the day, late 1800s, early 1900s, bathhouses were almost as common as libraries. It's, a lot of the homes kind of in the Mount Pleasant area didn't have running water. So you had this Eastern European immigrant influx coming in, and the bathhouse is literally where you went to bathe. And yeah, I would say it was one of those things where grandfathers would take their sons, and then the sons would take their sons, and so on and so on. So it was like, for the Jewish side of it, it was almost like an unofficial bar mitzvah, I guess you could say.
And by the way, I live in South Euclid.
Okay.
So
you're somewhat close. So it's on East 116th and Kinsman. So it's ironic because that area obviously back then looked a lot different.
I just about to say that whole Mount Pleasant, Kinsman area, it looked totally different now. My grandparents owned a house on 125th and Kinsman.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you compare that to what 125th and Kinsman look like now, it's totally different.
One story from the book is a guy I interviewed. It was his first time going to Schvitz, and his buddy took him there, and they were on Kinsman, and I think they were just about to make a left on 116th to pull into the Schvitz. The Schvitz is on kind of a dead-end street. It's called Luke Avenue, and you pull into the Schvitz and you're there. But when they pulled onto East 116th Street, on the right-hand side, they just saw a car on fire. and my buddy was like, is that a bad sign? Like, should I not be here? One of those.
So as soon as he said Mount Pleasant, I kind of perked up like.
Backed up.
Yeah.
Man, that's where it used to be back in the day. I'm pretty sure if they had to build it now, they're not building that thing on Mount Pleasant.
No.
I can guarantee you that one. So.
And he saw this car on fire, and he looked to the right, and they made sure no one was in it, obviously. And the guy asked me, he goes, "You still cool? You still want to do this?" He goes, "Yeah, let's do it."
That's cool. That's
So it says you're a retired Browns season ticket holder.
Yeah.
What retired you?
Yeah.
What year did you retire?
Yeah.
This is my first year. So we got him.
Smart man.
My wife and I took the bait on the Freddie Kitchens year after 2018.
Oh, wow.
Whoop your head.
Yeah. So this was our first year. We didn't re-up. We had our ticket rep hounding us to come back, which was very interesting because I didn't really hear from them a lot when we were, and then it's like we went away, and it's like, no, we want you back.
Yeah. Come on back. We love you.
And it's funny, we live downtown, so for us it was just kind of a hop, skip, and a jump away. But we could take the next 2 hours to what kind of made us think, we're going to leave this alone.
I'm a retired season ticket holder as well, and I think you can feel what I'm about to say. For as much as Brown season tickets cost, the BS gift that they give their fans.
The Sherwin hat.
Yeah, all the crazy, the gift don't even probably equal to about $30-$40 most.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Stuff like that is ridiculous. And I remember it used to be a waiting list to be a Brown season ticket holder. You're not the only person that I've heard that the reps are now calling your line, hitting your line up, trying to get you to come back. I retired after the 0-16 season.
Okay, I think the first year we got a backpack, which was nice, and I think I still have it. But then you go on Twitter and you see what the Raiders and the Panthers,
that's like 2018,
who aren't even good teams, but you see what they're putting out there, and it's like,
you're like,
man,
this is night and day.
I still remember the home opener 2018. We played the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah,
it rained all game.
Yep.
The game goes to overtime. That was Josh Gordon's last game as a Cleveland Browns player.
Now, we're trying to figure out this. Jay sits here in his seat and he's been watching the Browns for years, and he said he's only made of scar tissue now because the Browns have hurt him so bad. I've been trying to get him counseling. I've been really.
My wife tries to get me counseling.
Right. Yeah. Does it still mess up your Sundays when they lose?
It does. Yeah. It still kind of hits you in a. It makes you feel rotten afterwards.
They need to study this phenomenon. And I'm trying to figure out how Jason does it. Jason has found a way to unplug his life and soul from the Browns. It's tough.
It don't impact me at all.
It is.
Good for you.
Listen,
you're a better man than all of us.
If I can bottle that and put it in it literally, this week, it was the bye week. And I was walking around the house and said, this is great.
Nice.
This is great. I'm like, I went on a walk. I was out. My wife put up her Christmas stuff. But I don't understand how that impacts me. I'm still trying to figure it out to this day.
Well, I mean, even yesterday, I was watching the other games on Red Zone and whatnot. And, I saw everything that obviously went on with Flacco and the yardage. He put up. But no, I think you're right. And it's funny when they do actually win. and it's a 1 o'clock game, it's amazing how much more you enjoy the 4 o'clock games, the Sunday
you
night
can watch
game.
it.
Yeah,
You're like, oh, let me see it. I can watch it, but but it hurts, McNuggets. It hurts.
I do feel bad. My middle guy, who you all know is a huge Browns fan, I'm like, man, why? I'm sorry. Like, why? My oldest thinks the Browns are a joke. He don't
even care.
He's not even.
You need to take your middle one to the Schvitz and cleanse him of all that. Literally sweat out the team. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, they're losing a generation of fans, man.
I was like that. I used to be riding inside. Like the running joke now is the Cleveland Browns done broke me.
Yeah.
The Browns ain't broke me.
No,
they ain't broke me. I just didn't chose to place that energy elsewhere. But before, I'm not like G. I'm not a former athlete turned media personality. I'm a lifelong fan who just got a few breaks, and here I am.
Yep.
I could definitely say like how I see this team, how I view this team, the level of emotional investment that I have is totally different than what it was 5 years ago.
I'm sure.
Like if the Browns lose or win, I'm gonna be a stewardess over my craft. I'm gonna do the best of ability that I can for whatever the obligation is at said moment. But when I clock out, man, I'm focusing on something else that ain't got nothing to do with the Cleveland Browns whatsoever.
In a weird way, though, it keeps all you guys working, so that's great, man.
Yeah, there's some collateral damage, but we still we got a job.
We actually got some breaking Browns news in a sec. So, Josh, we'll get you out of here on this one. Tell me the Jason Sudeikis story, because I asked you for a little extra blurbs, any extra information. You sent me this picture and said, there's a story behind it. So, please, what's the story?
Okay, so this was, if you guys remember a couple years ago when we had the eclipse.
Yes.
So it was the eclipse and it was the Guardians home opener the same day.
Yeah.
So big day in Cleveland. So it was funny, Sudeikis was in town because he was a big Caitlin Clark, Iowa fan. And that's when the women's Final Four was in town.
Yep.
So I had actually ran into him before, right on East 9th. I was walking, I got a picture with him. And then 2 days later, a friend of mine at the 9, she was having an eclipse viewing party, I guess you could say.
Yep.
And I ran into him in the lobby. And like I said, I live downtown. I go everywhere with my dog. She's got a little Guardians jersey on there right now. But I ran into Sudeikis, and I said, hey, I saw you the other day. Do you want to take a picture with my dog? And I just handed it over. Like basically someone handing over their baby to the Pope. So I didn't give him a chance to say no. And I took the picture real quick, and he said, oh, okay, great. And, handed it back. And it was funny because I did the same thing a couple weeks ago with Ken Carmen.
Yeah.
Not as exciting as Jason Sudeikis, but still fun. Yeah.
you see the dog. The dog was like, "Hey man, you going? What is this?" And he handed me back. Like
the dog was not impressed by either Ken Carmen or Sudeikis. Yeah.
Like the caption is, "Yeah, you listen. He holding me way too tight."
Yeah. Let's go.
Josh, give us a little more info where you can find the book. 20 stories from the Cleveland Schvitz.
Yeah, so it comes out tomorrow. Obviously, it's on Amazon. There's a couple bookstores in the area, Fireside Books in Sugar Falls, Max Backs in Cleveland Heights. I'll be doing an author talk at Max Backs on November 11th at 6 o'clock, and then I'll be doing one at Fireside Bookshop at 1 o'clock on Saturday, November 8th. So if you guys haven't been to the Schvitz before, this is my invite to you, and we'll put it together. I promise.
Earl, make sure you get this on tape, so when we get to the door, we got the proof. We gonna tell them. Let's go.
You won't be turned away. I promise.
Awesome.
We appreciate you. Make sure you go check out
Thank
that
you
book.
guys.
And make sure
Really
it's on
appreciate
Amazon,
it.
man.
Thank you.
Big Nuggets.
Awesome. That was Josh Womack. We do have some legit breaking news in a sec. I got to get one more read in. But when the whistle blows and you need a new repair in your house, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorsteps tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting on projects, while their industry-leading customer surveys always has your blind side covered. Join the free Trade Master program today. Score some serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free using promo code SHNFL5 for 5% off your first order. That is supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. Guys, we should do super chats, but a little bit of breaking news. Kevin Stefanski has officially turned over play calling duties to Tommy Rees.
Good.
The second year in a row that Kevin Stefanski has given over play calling duties to his offensive coordinator. This is something we talked about in depth earlier to this decision. Stefanski making it official right now. We'll dive into it a little deeper, but real quick around the panel, Earl, your initial thoughts on Stefanski turning over play calling duties to Tommy Rees?
Good. He should. This offense needs a spark. This team needs something different. I do think it's alarming that you're doing it for the second year in a row. I think it's a further indictment on Kevin Stefanski, the fact that we've gotten here. I'm interested to see what Tommy Rees can do, what wrinkles he can add. he has been touted as this innovative, next up type of guy when it comes to offensive minds coming from the college ranks to the NFL ranks. And to be quite honest with you, man, like it'll be very, very interesting to see how many yards Dillon Gabriel throws for coming out the bye week against the Jets, only because the only time we ever seen 300-yard passing games was when Ken Dorsey was calling the plays, not Kevin Stefanski.
I'm anxious to see if it looks any different. I asked Tyvis this last week during our film review. I said, Mary Kay came out and she said why, that Brown should, turn over play calling to Tommy Rees. And Tyvis said, well, listen, they're both involved in the plays. They're both kind of coming up with the mix of plays, the scripts, and different things. He doesn't know how much of a difference it's going to make. For me, I've been advocating it for a few weeks now. I think Tommy Rees is more in the mindset of understanding what college players are seeing and what college players have done, and putting those individuals in a position to run some of the things that they're more comfortable with. You got two guys who, in Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders, they're rookies. They came out of college. And I also think this is an opportunity, if you Kevin Stefanski, to be CEO and kind of look over certain things. I think the offense needed a shot in the arm. I think it was stale. I've been on the record saying that. I'm interested in seeing what the difference is going to be with Tommy Rees. And once again, the Cleveland Browns are the most interesting soap opera in the game. We got some. We didn't have no changes. Well, we got to change right now, and we'll see how it plays out. Jason, your thoughts?
Tommy was a highly respected up-and-coming coach. I think they had to promote him to OC, or else they would have lost him. He's been up for college jobs, and we'll see if he does better, if they move the ball and put points up and create chunk plays. I'll be surprised, and he'll have a head coaching job next year.
Woo!
So this is a
in college or pros?
I don't know, probably college.
Okay.
Probably college. I know he's highly respected in the college ranks. He's been up for head coaching jobs already.
I love this
Didn't
offensive.
Vrabel want to take him to New England with him when he
Yes.
got that job in New
I
England?
think that's right. I don't remember now. He
That
had
was the rumor, for the record.
he had opportunity. They had to promote him to OC, or they would have lost him.
Yeah.
So if he comes out and he turns this thing around and they're moving the ball and it looks better, he'll probably have a head
If
coaching
I'm being
job
real,
next
like
year.
it just gives me something to get excited for to watch the game on Sunday. That's about it, man. But
It's one of them things. I like what he did at Alabama. I thought he had a nice mix. I thought he was creative when he was there. And I mean, anytime you could be an offensive coordinator under Nick Saban, you know what type of energy he got. You better be prepared. He gonna question you at every turn. So I'm anxious to see what it is. McDuggets, how do you feel about the move?
I mean, it doesn't look good that it's 2 years in a row, mid-season, you're handing over play calling.
I agree.
For a guy who, was kind of brought here for his play calling prowess. It's certainly not a good look. The offense can't be worse, right? Like, there's nowhere to go but up from here. So I'm excited to see what Tommy Rees can do, but I'm not sure with the weapons they have how much more production you're going to get from some of this stuff.
We'll see. I mean, last year the jump was because Deshaun was throwing the ball 7 yards out of bounds, and Jameis, it was kind. I mean, this year it'll be the same. It's the same quarterback,
Right.
So now you'll really be able to tell if the play calling makes a difference. It's still the same plays.
It's the same
But
plays.
we'll be able to see if the play calling makes a difference and if the mix makes a difference. Whereas last year the quarterback and the play caller changed at the same time.
Now,
So we'll see.
Now, do we know, has he spoken on this, do we know if this, obviously he's not going to come out and say, the owner or the GM says switch play. Obviously he's going to take ownership and say, I did it.
Yeah.
I just saw the tweets from all the national guys who said, like Rappaport, for the second consecutive season, # Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski hands off play calling duties, this time to offensive coordinator Tommy Rees. Mary Kay tweeted the same thing earlier. So I didn't hear the context. I'll listen to it after the show. We'll dive into this way more in depth tomorrow as we kind of get some more details and digest it. But
Last year it felt like there were little fires all over the roster. And he turned over play calling because he needed to go be a head coach. This year it's the offense.
Yeah.
Like it is the offense. The defense is fine. Special teams has had lapses here and there, but it is the offense that's holding this team back. So we'll see.
Yeah, I agree. Some of the stuff that they had last year, I mean, they was getting penalized at a league record rate. Like they couldn't even line up straight. So the offense was bad, but this year, you look at it, the defense has played admirably. They've done their part. Special teams been shaky here or there, but the most part, all eyes have been on that offense. So him turning it over is one thing, but if he turned it over and they look like they turning the corner and doing some things, that lays on the coach. That has to be at your feet if they look better than they was looking.
For sure. Let's dive into some super chats here to wrap up the show, guys. HTX Nate says bye week 1-0 versus the Browns. We're here for G. Bush. Hazy Eye Publishing says the Browns should hire Mike McCarthy as the head coach and Louis Riddick as the GM.
What?
I don't think Louis Riddick. I don't think he's
McCarthy.
I would have nothing to do with Mike McCarthy.
Yeah, hard pass on McCarthy.
Yeah, I'm cool with Mike McCarthy.
Miss Bell says, I heard Tony Grossi pre-draft say Shador would go 1 or 2 in spite of draft fail. Instead of draft fall, he's been anti-Shador ever since. Evident there's been a false narrative.
Shout out to Tony Grossi, man.
What?
I don't know. Mr. Miami says, Josh Cribbs said that he heard from sources in the Browns that multiple teams called for Shador in a trade, and Barry wanted a first or second round pick.
Well,
if that's true, what does that say about how they really feel?
Let me know. I'll ask you. I mean, you scoured the waiver wires. I mean, was there what is have teams called about Shador? Is Shador? What date would the Browns move him? Because we hear this all the time about trade.
Why would any team give up a first or second for Shador when they passed on him in the 4th round, and they've seen no evidence?
Right.
That he would be worth,
He hasn't played yet.
No, they are not trading. No team is giving up a first or a second. I think you get a 5th for him. That's what you get. You took him in the 5th. He hasn't played.
Yeah.
You get a 5th for him. So
a first round picks. I mean, look, we don't want to give up no first round picks for Garrett Wilson. It's
that's absurd to think that you would even ask for a first round pick for a rookie quarterback taken in the 5th round who hasn't taken a snap in a regular season, in a regular season game.
All right, next one. Drama XTV says Larry Nance Jr.'s bum juice 115 over his last 2 games. Mr. Miami.
Larry Nance. He's a veteran that he's one of them dudes like you said. I need something in a couple of games in April or May.
Larry will help this team.
Yeah.
Mr. Miami says Yates and Kuiper just said on their mock draft last year pre-draft 9 executives said Shador was the best quarterback. So now how is he this bad? I don't know what that means. 79 Hasser says outside of 5 games in 2023, the Browns have been Minimowski the last 5 years. Fumigate 76, Lou Groza, only in Cleveland will 5 bad years fly without changes.
Well, they made some changes. Some will tell you giving a play caller might be step 1. I don't know. We'll see how it works out.
Next one comes from Stroke, who says, I hope Jaylen shows up big in the playoffs. Miss Bell says, only a moron would draft a player, portray him as slow and not ready, then try to trade him as though he's worth your best. Trade Barry and Stefanski.
Has any GM ever been traded?
A GM traded? No. Head coach? Yes.
Yeah. So is it technically possible to trade GMs?
Probably. He's on a contract. Yeah.
That's wild. The Cleveland Browns have traded Andrew Berry.
Yeah. OG Powers sent us Joe Flacco's stat line. We talked about that earlier. Dragon the Abandoner said you guys can't accept the issue is talent.
We talk about talent.
I think he's talking to the chat. I think this was in relationship to a chat conversation.
Okay.
Miss Bell says, QB hit my helmet with a pass. You lost me. I quit. James May says, do you guys think Stefanski has a therapist?
Say again?
Do you think Stefanski is a therapist?
Do I think he is a therapist?
Do you think he has one?
Being the head coach of the Browns will require it.
Yeah, I think, by the way, most players, if they were smart, would go to sports psychologists. I saw Kirk Cousins on the quarterback one.
Yeah.
And I thought that was riveting because – we talked about it. Matter of fact, I told Earl we're gonna link up and do this podcast about maintaining your mental health in this industry. So I literally think
I mean, you better have a therapist. You got a wife, you got kids, you got a family, you got a job, you got a lot going on in your world, man. You better have a therapist.
Go Google what Kevin looked like at his introductory press conference.
Oh, night and day.
And look what he looks like now. You talk about like presidential aging you. This job has aged that man 20 years.
Personal opinion, I think we all need a therapist. I think we all should have somebody that
with her.
We can talk to. So, yeah.
Next two are tied together, so I'm going to just read one, but it's the same question. Homer GF and Dragon the Abandoner says, how do we know the Browns didn't try to trade up for Dart?
Because why would they trade up for him? They could have just taken him.
They got the number 2 pick.
There you
They could have took him.
James May says the Browns want a, quote, traditional quarterback. Brody's bottom line says, question for you guys. I'm doing a basketball project. If you take Clark Kellogg, and LeBron away, who's the best Ohio/Cleveland high school basketball player you ever saw?
Jim Jackson.
Jawad Williams.
Oh, good. JJ.
Jim Jackson.
Yeah. In our lifetime.
He was cold.
JJ.
Listen, Jawad was balling.
Jawad Williams was nice
St.
too.
Ed's at a time. So me and Cecil talked about this. Like when you 7th, 8th grade, and you transition to high school, he was the biggest name that was ringing out in the city of Cleveland.
Yeah.
And like at that time, that era, for whatever reason, it's like people in Cleveland was beefing with people in Akron. So it was like, man, we got our own 6'8", 6'9" phenom. We don't need you.
Yeah.
Oh, listen.
While you're thinking, G, I got 3 more.
Go ahead.
We got 30 seconds. Brody's bottom line says, I love Carnell Tate, but can we draft Jordan Tyson too? Beautifully blessed.
Reed
says they choose the way they choose. It's obvious their intent was to tank another year, see what comes out next year. Akron Hot Saucer says, now that Halloween is over, let's pivot to the holiday season. The Browns are already in the holiday spirit. They've been giving away games all year. And last but not least, Tay Toon says, Miss Bella's talking about the ESPN Cleveland show, The Daily Grossy with Chops. She's right about Grossy saying 12 was the high pick, then he switched up. Well, ESPN Cleveland's not us, so we can't really comment on that. We'll see you in overtime. Peace.
we will do this. We will
Watch the fan instead.